I want to welcome everyone to the this meeting of the NICHD Stillbirth Working Group with Council. My name is Dr. Allison Cernich. I'm the Deputy Director of the NICHD National Institute of Child Health and Human Development. I want to thank all of you for joining us for this session today. We are really looking forward to listening and hearing from so many of you who have asked to share your thoughts with the working group. I also want to let everybody know and introduce the co-chairs and the director of the Institute and let you know that they will be with us throughout this listening session, but we want to make sure that we give as much time as possible to hearing from you. So I will just recognize Dr. Diana Bianchi, the director of the NICHD National Institute of Child Health and Human Development, and our co-chairs of the NICHD Stillbirth Working Group of Council, Dr. Lucky Jane and Dr. Uma Reddy. They may or may not be on camera the whole time because we also want to spotlight you and we want to make sure that you see me as the moderator as we ask you to keep your comments respectfully within time. So I just want you to know that though their cameras may be off, we are all listening. We'll also be sharing a summary of this meeting with the full working group and the video will also be available. Just in terms of the logistics for today, we really have received a robust response for the meeting from organizations and individuals that registered to comment during this section. Due to recent updates we received this morning, the order may change from the initial list you received, and there may be a slight change in the times you're presenting. We'll make sure that everyone who registered to comment is commenting. If you've already received an email from us giving you a time and something goes wrong, we can obviously try to adjust as possible. For those who registered after the noon deadline on January 4th, you can view the session live on videocast. And after the session, you're welcome to submit your comments to Natasha Williams at natasha.williams2@nih.gov. And I believe she has also already emailed you. Please note that this session will be live and will be recorded. The subsequent recording will be posted on the NIH videocast. For organizations that identified more than one spokesperson, we ask that one representative speak for the organization and others speak as individuals. Based upon the number of those registered, we had previously shared with you, organizations will have 5 minutes to speak and individuals will have 3 minutes to speak. And this was just to make sure that we were respectful of all of your time and we could try to accommodate to the greatest extent possible, given a little bit of extension in the time that we have available. We do have the video cast available until 6, and we'll have a hard stop at 6. The order of the organizations and individuals to give comments was based upon the time and date of registration. We will ask speakers to turn on their camera and introduce themselves. However, if you are not comfortable being on camera, please let us know. Do not turn on your camera, and please proceed with your remarks. I will turn on my camera when there is 1 minute left for your comments, so you will see me appear. And then I will signal you when there are 15 seconds left for your remarks if you are not just about to wrap up. The Zoom chat function will not be available. We thought that might be a distraction during the meeting to have that continually pop up. If you have logistical questions or you have questions for our administrative staff, you need to just, and I think this was provided to you as well, you would email NICHD Event Logistics, that's all one word, NICHD Event Logistics at bizzelus.com. That's BIZZELLUS.com. Screen share will also not be available in the Zoom function. If you need to share something, we had asked that you send it to the meeting organizers, and we believe we've received slides from everybody who was going to share them. I'm just going to pause for a moment to make sure that I did not miss anything. Mahogany, are we good to go? I know we said we were starting at 3:10, but if Susanna Lisher is available, we can get started.
Yes, Susanna is available. Anthony, if you'd like to display Susanna's slides, please.
So we can, I guess we can go ahead and begin. So Susanna, you will be spotlighted, and what I'll be doing is I will be going off camera, but we'll come back on at 1 minute. So thank you very much for joining us today. Please go ahead and introduce yourself and begin.
Thanks so much. Can you let me know, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Perfect. So thank you so much. I'd like to acknowledge the labor over many years of Debbie Hain Vijayvergiya on behalf of her stillborn daughter, Autumn Joy, to pass federal legislation, the Shine for Autumn Act, which was a foundation for the creation of the Stillbirth Task Force. So I'm Dr. Zan Lesher. I'm a stillbirth epidemiologist, and I'm a global stillbirth advocate. The reason that I work on stillbirth is my first child, Wilder Daniel. Here's a picture of me when I was very pregnant with Wilder and excited to become a first-time mother. I did everything right. I went to all my prenatal appointments, gave up coffee and alcohol, and readied the nursery to welcome our baby home. Next slide, please. On July 11th, 1999, I noticed that the baby had stopped moving. So I called the midwife, who told me to drink some juice and wait to see if that woke the baby up. An hour later, we couldn't stand waiting anymore and went into the hospital just to be sure that everything was okay. On the maternity floor, the technician smeared gel on my tummy and started to search for a heartbeat. I will never forget the sound, only static. I knew right away, and I hit the cement wall hard with my hand. I yelled, "What is going on?" Wilder was stillborn nearly 24 years ago on July 13th, 1999, 11 days before his due date, after a 2-day induction. My pregnancy was near perfect. Wilder weighed 6 pounds, 12 ounces. Despite an autopsy and every possible test, no cause was ever found for Wilder's death. A perinatologist told us that sometimes these things just happen. My life is committed to rejecting that statement. Next slide, please. There's a great deal that we can and must achieve through research. I've included a few top points here. First, let's use global metrics and acknowledge our poor performance on the global stage. In an apples-to-apples comparison, using the World Health Organization definition of stillbirth at 28 or more weeks, and the most recent global stillbirth data analyzed by UNICEF, the U.S. stillbirth rate is higher than 25 other high-income countries, including Australia, Canada, Germany, the Netherlands, Japan, Korea, and Spain. Second, we do not need to reinvent the wheel. Let's collaborate with the top global high performers on stillbirth prevention and post-stillbirth bereavement care to adapt their tools and expertise for the U.S. setting. We have an enormous amount to learn from our colleagues. From Australia, with the world's most comprehensive, fully government-funded Stillbirth Center of Research Excellence, and a council focused on Australian Aboriginal research expertise. From Ireland, with national stillbirth bereavement care standards. From the UK, a leader in parent involvement in perinatal audit and co-production of research. From the Netherlands, with experience in national-level perinatal audit. And from Canada, with extensive research on First Nations stillbirth research factors, risk factors, and prevention approaches. Third, let's redefine what we consider to be preventable. Using the 28-week definition, if the U.S. matched the lowest national stillbirth rate, which is in Japan, at 1.4 stillbirths per 1,000 total births, we could prevent 53% of stillbirths at this gestational age. There are no known biological factors that would prevent our achieving this. Fourth, it's critical to acknowledge parents as experts in our experience of stillbirth. Co-production of research with affected parents must be normalized, welcoming parents as allies. Fourth, research should focus on and under-investigated areas to uncover new risk factors and explore interactions that may help improve our understanding. The most recent U.S. national data from 2020 show that 31% of stillbirths have no identified cause. And we must prioritize the persistent racial disparities whereby there has been at least a doubled risk of stillbirth in Black versus white families for the last 100 years. And my own research shows a tripled risk in New York City. It's likely that factors which are under or unexamined can help to address these gaps. Such factors range from epigenetic mechanisms to upstream health system and other structural factors, including provider bias and other forms of racism. And fifth, It's vital that we prioritize timely and accurate data collection, for instance, by applying the lessons learned from improving birth certificate data to address poor fetal death certificate quality. I'd like to extend my appreciation to all the members of the NICHD working group for your time and your commitment. The only way to end preventable stillbirths in the U.S. and ensure respectful bereavement care is to work together, and this working group is a vital step toward that future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lesher, and I apologize for the alarm. That was for me, not for you, but I will turn it off. Thank you so much, and really appreciate the comments. I'll now move to Samantha Banerjee.
Thank you so much. Are you guys able, Jay Wilson is supposed to be speaking with me. Are you able to spotlight her as well?
I think we can, yes.
Thank you. Okay, well, while you get that set up, I'll get started. My name is Samantha Banerjee. I'm the Executive Director of Push for Empowered Pregnancy. We are a relatively new org. We launched about 1.5 years ago, and we're a coalition of diverse families, medical professionals, and leading experts and researchers from around the country and the globe. And we have a single-minded mission, which is to drive down the incidence of preventable stillbirth in the U.S. by any means necessary. I am a lost mom. My daughter Lana was born still 2 days before her due date in 2013. Sitting next to me is Alana's dad, Sudeep, who might be a disembodied head. But I'm not going to go into Alana's story because I know many of you here have heard it already. And if not, you can find it all over the internet. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to refocus the conversation on marginalized families, in particular Black parents, who are really bearing the brunt of the silent epidemic of preventable stillbirth. And to explain why, I would love to introduce my dear friend and fellow lost mom, Jay Wilson of Melanated Moms.
Thank you so much, Sam. I appreciate the opportunity to share this space with you, as well as getting to learn more about how we can all be preventative partners in this work together. As Sam has mentioned, my name is Jay Wilson. I'm the founding president and CEO of Melanated Moms. We do a lot of work around creating more opportunities for visibility for moms, women, and birthing people to find the resources that they need to become better versions of themselves. Outside of my organization, my draw to this work actually came through my personal experience with loss. My second pregnancy was a stillbirth at 22 weeks. My daughter, Naima Renee, was stillborn due to placental abruption that was caused by severe preeclampsia. While I had the knowledge about preeclampsia because of my pregnancy before her, I actually had preeclampsia as well. I'm also a medical professional. I'm a nurse. Specializing in community health. However, during my experience with my pregnancies, all of them, I was constantly silenced, dismissed, and even challenged whenever I asked questions, whenever I wanted more clarity, and whenever I asked for more resources so that I can make a better, more informed decision about how to move forward with my pregnancies. My history of having 4 pregnancies and 2 losses is unfortunately a very common one when it comes to Black women. One of the things that I've learned through the work with Melanated Moms, as well as a coalition partner with Push for Empowered Pregnancy, is the moms, women, and birthing people who look like me, who have experienced this same disparity time and time again. And along with my own experience, learning that we often feel we can't say anything because no one is going to listen, or we just should not say anything because nothing's going to change. So I'm glad to be here and to be a part of this work. And I'm so proud of Sam for creating this awesome space for us to bring visibility to this, but also create more accountability in spaces that can create macro levels of change. So I'm going to turn it back over to you, Sam. Thank you again for sharing your platform with me.
Thank you so much, Jay, and thank you for all the work that you do. So CDC data shows that if we simply close the gap between white and Black parents, we would avert 4,000 stillborn deaths every year in this country, which would result in a 17% overall reduction in stillbirth. It really is a crisis. And due to our history of racism and our collective inability to face death and grief, it's a uniquely American crisis. In case you were wondering, this graphic behind me is not actually abstract art. It's actually an illustration of the dire state of stillbirth prevention in the United States. So this green figure over my shoulder depicts 2016 Lancet data on the average rate of reduction of stillbirth in the third trimester from 49 high-income countries. The US is that tiny little yellow bar all the way at the bottom, ranking a dismal 48th out of 49. And the pink figure shows the same metric, this time from a 2020 UNICEF report across all 195 low, middle, and high-income countries worldwide. The US, shamefully, again, if you could see it, ranks 183rd. Since this working group was announced on September 12, 2022, over 7,200 US babies have been born still, but it doesn't have to be this way. Research from NIH's own Stillbirth Collaborative Research Network found in 2019 that at least 25% of US stillbirths are potentially preventable, including 47% at term. And as we just heard from Zan, our international peers show us that these estimates are conservative. If we match the stillbirth rate of Japan, for example, who defines stillbirth as beginning at 22 weeks, we would be averting up to 75% of US stillborn deaths. I know 7,200 babies is a hard number to wrap your head around, so I wanted to point out that the pattern behind me is actually made of 7,200 tiny hearts, one for each of those children. And the white hearts were all potentially preventable deaths. We have a saying in the stillbirth community, a little life, not a little loss. Because each of those hearts might be small, but they are valued beyond measure. We must never lose sight of the fact that what is at stake here is lives. My stillborn daughter, Alana, Jay's daughter, the children who have been or will be stillborn in your family and amongst your friends, and the thousands more children like them who will die preventable deaths every year in this country until we do something about it. While considered statistically rare, the sheer number of stillbirths is staggering, and the collective suffering wrought by those deaths is unfathomable. And yet, compelling as they are, the numbers alone have not been able to create change, because only people create change. Dr. Bianchi, Dr. Jane, Dr. Silver, Dr. Reddy, all of you on this council, you have devoted your lives to helping others, to wielding science, to do good, to being healers. And in this moment, you have a choice and an opportunity. The opportunity to see stillbirth as more than just a data collection problem and affirm it as the public health crisis it is. We implore you to use your voice and your privilege to right this wrong, to end preventable stillbirth, because if you do not speak for us and our children, I don't know who will. Thank you.
Thank you, Samantha. We appreciate your comments. And thank you also to Jay for yours. If we can move now to Marjorie Vale, please. And Marjorie, as a reminder, you will have 3 minutes to speak, please. Mahogany, is Marjorie available?
I was checking the list. Allison, it doesn't look like we have Marjorie online today.
Okay. Then let me ask, and I will just keep this as a placeholder, is Tamika Isaac on, please?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Tamika, if I could ask you to go next, I would very much appreciate it.
Sure thing.
And we are giving you, this is thank you for representing JACE's journey as an organization. So I will yield to you for 5 minutes. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. Again, I'm Tamika Isaac. I am the founder and executive director of JACE's Journey, which is a nonprofit my husband and I started in 2019 to address the disparities in maternal and infant health. I don't really want to talk about the organization as much as I want to talk about JACE. I became pregnant with JACE in November of 2017 at the age of 40, and I was told I was high risk for preeclampsia. We had been trying, I know, for over a year, and we were beyond excited to welcome him to our life. Throughout the course of my pregnancy, which was, like I said, documented as high risk, I was given 0 urine tests and only 1 blood test, which was on the first day of my 3rd trimester. On May 14th in 2018, Jace presented with a intrauterine growth restriction. After an inconclusive ultrasound was performed, no additional testing was done. On May 10th, Jace failed a non-stress test. And after another ultrasound, maternal fetal medicine advised that Jace was fine. The cause of the IUGR was never determined or mentioned. In just 4 days, which was I was a little over 35 weeks at this point, and about 2 weeks before I was planning to be induced, I woke up vomiting in the middle of the night, was rushed to a hospital, and later told emotionlessly by the hospital staff that Jace had passed away. I learned that I had HELP syndrome, which could have been diagnosed through a urine or a blood test. Can you imagine the life we had planned for our family was destroyed in a 5-minute conversation that I can barely remember because I too almost died that day. Due to the severity of my HELP syndrome, I went through 7 surgeries within 45 days, developing infections that forced me to miss Jace's funeral. Just one simple test could have saved Jace's life. Unfortunately, according to ACOG, urine protein testing is no longer considered a best practice for reasons which include, and I quote, healthcare staff would also benefit from eliminating routine urine dipstick testings as nurses spend a notable amount of time throughout the day administering specimen cups, collecting urine samples, screening for protein, and disposing of waste. I'm here to tell you that no amount of time can change the impact that Jace's preventable death has forever changed my entire family. But as Sam and Jay spoke, we are not alone. Approximately 65 families are affected by stillbirth every day. And as also noted, Black women are twice as likely to suffer a stillbirth compared to all other races of women. The time to end preventable deaths is now. I thank you for letting me share Jace and for our story. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tamika. We really appreciate your comments. Marjorie Vale, I believe, has joined us. And so, Marjorie, if you are able to go ahead with your comments, we will open the floor to you for 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak. My name is Marjorie Vale. I currently live in Brooklyn, New York. My story, unfortunately, was 18 years ago. And it's sad for me that till this day, we're still having the same conversations over and over and over again. When 18 years ago, when we should have been embarking on one of the greatest times of our lives, becoming parents for the first time, something so wonderful became very, very tragic. I went to give birth at a birthing center in a hospital in Manhattan, and it went from bad to worse. And one of the reasons why is I wasn't listened to. No one was listening to me. No one was hearing me when I said that I needed support and I needed help. And it sadly had to take a turn for the worse for everyone to be like, oh my gosh, we're so sorry. But sorry is a little bit too late. And with us, it turns out that our son died because of velamentous cord insertion. And it's something that can be detected with extra close up with a sonogram, because it's not a part of standard of care. It wasn't done. And so therefore a simple C-section, and although most women do not want C-section, a C-section could have prevented that. And honestly, I never heard of that condition until our son, Alexei London Vale, passed away. And so therefore, my my hope is that we make standard of care extra sonograms to be able to find these things, and also to track through data how many pregnancies have velamentous insertia, so that we'll be able to prevent it. So that is my charge for you all.
Thank you so much, Marge. Thank you. Sadly, I'm doing too many buttons over here, so I apologize if I'm a little hesitant on this, but thank you for sharing your story and thank you for sharing your charge. If we can go to Christian Ortiz, is Christian on the line?
I'm here. I have the Valentina shirt.
All right. So, Christian,
Okay, I'll keep
yielding to you for 3 minutes. Thank you.
This is a lot to unpack, and I'm really sorry to hear all the stories. This is very sad. So I'll keep my remarks brief. My name is Christian. I'm from New York City. I'm father of Valentina, who my partner Crystal birthed still at term last Christmas. The American College of Obstetrics published a paper 4 years ago that says that 50% of stillbirths are preventable. Mine was preventable. I know this because I have clinical reports from expert OBs and an autopsy. This service was not offered to me. We paid thousands for these independent experts to discern Crystal's medical records so that we can get to the bottom of what happened to my daughter so that we can gain some closure. And for data hygiene, with the hopes that Valentina's case can be studied for prevention purposes. Fortunately, and I use that term extremely loosely, I had the means to afford this. Many parents don't. And since stillbirth disproportionately affects parents of low socioeconomic status, many of these causes of deaths are misidentified because the source is the OB's opinion, which in many cases can be biased and not an independent source of truth. I know that the NIH once had a grant that covered pathology tests for stillbirths. And when that grant was offered, 70% of stillbirths in the US got independent autopsies, and the stillbirth rate per capita dropped. When that grant expired, that percentage of autopsies dropped to 30%, and the drop in stillbirths flattened. It is very difficult for research and development to gain understanding of how to prevent something if there is no clean data to discern. The bodies are not the problem. There are plenty of bodies, 22,000 bodies a year, more or less, despite the US fertility rate at a 40-year low to research. The issue is that there is no funding for said research, and empirical evidence suggests that when money is earmarked towards research and development, preventable stillbirths trend down in the United States. That's all I have to say.
Christian, thank you so much, and thank you for giving us also such a poignant story. So if I can, I will be moving to Sabrina, and I'm hoping I'm saying your name correctly, and if I'm not, please correct me when I introduce you. Sabrina Tate, who will be joining us. Mahogany, is Sabrina available?
Do not see Sabrina on
And if I can.
Sabrina is on. I see Sabrina's on. She's on.
Okay, great. Sabrina, if you could come off of mute, and I will yield to you for 3 minutes. And please, if it's Sabrina, I apologize.
I did send a notification.
Okay.
She may have been having some audio issues, possibly.
Okay.
She's no longer on.
So may I ask if Yuvelka, and please again accept my apologies on pronunciation of name and correct me, please. Magdalena Reyes, if you are available, we would love to open the floor to you.
Yuvelka
Thank
is
you.
on.
Thank you so much. I am available. Can you hear me?
Thank you. Yes, we can. Please begin.
Okay. Hi, my name is Juvelka Magdalena Reyes. I am a New York native, born in the Bronx, and I'm also a trauma-informed full spectrum birth and death doula. I'm a brain spotting practitioner, and I'm also a New York ambassador for Count the Kicks. As a trauma-informed birth doula, a childbirth educator, and a New York ambassador for Count the Kicks, I am present with the community, and I give information and support. Information to empower people and support that families are not alone in this beautiful process of birth. I help them with the stages of labor, let them know what a doula is, and I also equip them with an evidence-based app called Count the Kicks. This app was created, like I said, evidence-based research that demonstrates a reduction in stillbirth by teaching pregnant women how to monitor fetal movement during the 3rd trimester of pregnancy by doing kick counts and displaying it on a daily basis. It records the baby's movements, it tracks changes over time, and it reminds them to count their baby's kicks every day. They could even print out a report to give to their doctors. Having this type of information and support brings ease to parents. As we all know, during a pregnancy, certain anxieties arise in both parents, which is common. And antenatal anxiety. Parents feel very anxious about their baby's welfare. They seek frequent reassurance. Is my baby healthy? Is my baby developing normally? Is my baby moving? And tools like Count the Kicks and having a doula help parents have ease. However, when there is a loss, I have to put on my death doula hat and my brain spotting practitioner hat. Because it seems that in a space like this, people quickly forget what to say, what to do, and to understand that it is a traumatic event. It is necessary to recognize perinatal loss, such as stillbirth, as a traumatic event. And all of us here that are professionals, we know that trauma changes the brain. We wonder what is going on with these parents. How are they feeling? I can share with you a little bit from the clients that come to have services with me. They feel stuck. They have difficulties knowing how to move on following a loss. Many times, more often than not, grief is embodied for years. Stillbirth is traumatic. And I have to say it again, stillbirth is a traumatic event and should be treated just like any other trauma. We need to give full support to parents. We need to be there with them. It is important that we acknowledge their emotional trauma immediately during and in the years following perinatal loss. And when we sit here and we think about how traumatic the loss of a child is, just the loss of a loved one, but the loss of a baby, this traumatic event affects Black women the most. 1 in 96 of their births ends in stillbirth. And decades of research indicate that this serious U.S. public health problem involves structural racism, and it has a negative effect on minds and bodies of all racial groups, yes, but especially Black women and Hispanic women like myself come in a strong second compared to dominant cultured folks. Please help us stop this preventable stillbirths. Thank you, and with that, I yield.
Thank you so much, Ms. Reyes. I appreciate it.
Allison, you're muted.
That doesn't help, does it?
So Sabrina did come back.
Okay.
I sent her a message. I'm trying to see if she's able to. She's not in the country right now, so I believe that could be the issue.
Okay.
Sabrina, if you're able to unmute.
And I apologize, all technology is not always seamless, so please bear with us. Mahogany, let's see if we can get Sabrina to message and see, and I'll pause again after our next presenter, if that's possible.
Yes, I'll ask her to dial in if possible.
Thank you so much. So I will now turn to Catherine Hyde Hensley. Catherine, I believe I've seen you on, and so if you can unmute, I'll yield to you for 3 minutes as well.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Catherine Hyde Hensley, and in November of 2006, while my community celebrated the Feast of All Saints, I labored and delivered my stillborn baby. Helen was 7 pounds, 6 ounces, and 38 weeks of beautiful baby. We were 3 days away from our scheduled C-section. Dave and I left the hospital with empty arms. We received a certificate of fetal demise in the mailbox. At my 6-week follow-up, my nurse asked with joy, "So how's the new baby doing?" She hadn't read my chart. After the funeral, the community returned to their normal life, while we faced stigma, isolation, and feelings of failure marked by stillbirth. I received false education regarding my milk supply, and I was engorged for 3 weeks. I had severe postpartum depression and PTSD, and I struggled to care for my 2 children. I looked for mental health support, and there was little to be found. No one considered my mental health. Not even a PHQ-9 or an Edinburgh was done. Stillbirth blindsided us as we learned about the frequency, the prevalence, and the painful stigma. Losing Helen impacted our marriage, our finances, careers, and especially our parenting. I am a bereaved mother, 2006, a bereaved sister, 2016, and a bereaved daughter, 2018. I lean into the grief. It fuels my passion for maternal infant therapy as a licensed clinical mental health counselor. I ask you to consider that Black's 2020 research reports that stillbirth sets in motion a complex trauma response with implications for future childbearing, parenting, and other children, and intimate relationships and physical emotional health. I remind you that Joanne Cacciatore's 2010 research describes the traumatizing aspects of stillbirth that increases a woman's risk for adverse long-term social and psychological outcomes. Let's ask ourselves, what can we do to reduce stillbirth? What has worked well in our global community? I ask you to listen to the families impacted by stillbirth. As we aim to be a part of the paradigm shift, we need to make systematic changes through prevention using the Safer Baby Bundles. Lean into the research, the Stillbirth Center for Research Excellence, because only through education, awareness campaigns, and prevention can we reduce the disparities. Thank you.
Catherine, thank you so much. Very much appreciate your comments. I just want to pause and also say I want to thank all of you for sharing your stories and sharing the stories of your babies and your families so publicly. I think it's a very powerful and very really meaningful way for us to really be in touch with many of the things that we heard over the course of our research discussions. And I know that as we heard from families throughout, it very much was top of mind for us. So I do just want to take a moment to be grateful right now. And then I want to check back in to see if one of our participants has been able to join. So Mahogany, that's okay. If just say we're working on it, and we'll move to our next presenter if they're available, and I appreciate your efforts. If Christine Chang is with us, I'd like to invite Christine to speak for the next speaker. Christine, thank you for joining us, and I will yield to you for 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Christine Chang. I'm a mom to a stillborn baby and 3 living children. I'm also a healthcare professional. I graduated from Princeton University with a degree in biology, and I hold a master's in public health from Columbia University. I spend my professional career looking for ways to improve the healthcare system. How can electronic health records be improved? How can we diversify clinical trials? How can we take the patient advocacy model that Dr. Fauci used in HIV/AIDS to other areas of healthcare? Having carried 4 full-term pregnancies, but only able to bring 3 children home, it's extremely apparent to me that the need to continue to improve pregnancy outcomes is necessary. My professional background also meant that going into my first pregnancy, I understood healthcare. I knew I needed to advocate for myself. I knew how the health system worked, and I had done my research. And yet, on St. Patrick's Day in 2014, after a seemingly low-risk first pregnancy, I was told that my baby had no heartbeat. I was 38 weeks pregnant. After delivering the baby the next morning, my heart dropped when I found out she was a girl. And then I blacked out as I hemorrhaged while delivering her placenta. When I came to, the room was silent, and my husband was by my side holding our baby girl in his arms. I would have preferred to have had a baby in the NICU. I would have preferred to have a C-section rather than delivering a stillborn baby vaginally with no epidural. I would have preferred that it was my life rather than my baby's. Over the following weeks and months, as the initial shock wore off, I had so many questions. How many stillbirths occurred at 38 weeks? What happened? Some answers came quickly. The change in fetal movement was a warning sign that I didn't know to look for, even as my baby's movements changed twice over the course of a number of days. The nurses that I spoke to didn't take kick counts seriously, unfortunately. And yet I saw online and met moms afterwards who knew that something was wrong when their fetal movements had changed and their babies were alive today. Other answers for me took more time. 5 years later, I found out that Madison had an extremely small placenta. I wasn't able to take maternity leave because I didn't have a baby to bond with. When I went back to work, I burst into tears every time I saw the word hospital. I thought I might never be able to work again in the field that I had trained for and was so passionate about. My PTSD turned into postpartum anxiety after the birth of my subsequent living children. Every time I put my baby boy to sleep in his crib, I mentally noted the time it was in case it was the last time he might be alive. My questions still remain. Did I have a small placenta with all my pregnancies? Will my kids be more likely to have a stillbirth if they decide to have kids? Maternal and child health includes stillbirth. Stillbirth occurs more than SIDS. It occurs more than maternal deaths, though many of the ways to prevent maternal deaths are the same as preventing stillbirth. We need better data collection and research. We need to continue to listen, like you are today, to the patients who have experienced this loss, even if it's uncomfortable. We need to set a goal of reducing stillbirth rates by 10, 20% in 5 to 10 years. Pick your number. We need to educate patients and providers. Every night, my kids say goodnight to each other, and then they say goodnight to their sister, Madison. I'm telling my story to you so that they and no one else has to experience a preventable stillbirth. Thank you.
Jean, thank you so much for your story. We really appreciate you sharing it. Now what I would like to do, Mahogany, I will just see if you're still working on it. You can just say yes.
Yes.
Okay. What I'll do is if Michelle Alette Harris, and again, correct me if I say the names incorrectly, who is representing Elijah's Purpose, an organization, would be available, we can begin.
Hi, good. Hello, can everyone hear me? Michelle had a work obligation and couldn't make it and asked me to speak on her behalf in Elijah's way.
Okay. And so who are we speaking with?
You're speaking with Kenya Kirkman.
Okay, Kenya. Okay, go ahead.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So yes, hi, my name is Kenya Kirkman, and I'm speaking on Michelle and her organization, Elijah's Purpose, an organization that provides resources and support to other families who are suffering from pregnancy and infant loss. Back in 2014, Michelle was pregnant with twins, and due to the lack of insurance and a delay in her veterans benefits, wasn't able to get an appointment till about 28 weeks. At that appointment, she was informed that Elijah had passed away 3 weeks prior. She was placed on bed rest due to the many complications, which indeed stemmed from the lack of proper prenatal care. Alicia had to go 3 weeks with his deceased brother, Elijah, in the womb. Also, the financial cost of burying Elijah was a burden at the time. But in 2020, Elijah's Purpose was born, in which it is now an organization that provides financial support to families experiencing pregnancy or infant loss. Similarly to Michelle, I also experienced a horrible first birthing experience. I too was pregnant with twin boys, but unfortunately my twin boys aren't here physically. I didn't have to have the happy ending that I dreamed of and hoped for. And although I went to every doctor's appointment, followed every directive, decided not to work because I wanted a smooth pregnancy, nothing could really prepare me for August 18th, 2019. The treatment that I endured in my initial hospital wasn't pleasant. I didn't feel like the situation mattered to them or what I was saying was being taken serious. I felt unheard and misguided, and it really led me to switch hospitals in the midst of my pregnancy. But by that time, unfortunately, my twins were born still. I was told that the cause was incompetent cervix, which impacts Black and brown mothers at alarming rates. Although 2 weeks prior, my cervix was told to me to be fine. It has impacted me and my family emotionally more than anything, to the point I honestly am terrified to conceive or even thinking about starting a family. Excuse me. As of today, in numerous ways and probably shared statistic-wise, one in 107 pregnancies in the U.S. end in stillbirth. That's equivalent to 3 kindergarten classes or a school bus full of children every single day, or even an airplane every week. But like maternal morbidity, Black women are twice as likely to suffer stillbirth, as shared earlier, compared to any other races of women. Black women in just Black families are suffering almost 30% of the U.S. stillbirths, even though they count for 13% of the population. There's no way that in 2019, with my 2 sisters and I all being pregnant in the same year, one of the 3 pregnancies ended unfavorably. I have many thoughts on whether this is because I had my pregnancy in New York and they had their pregnancy in the state of Florida. But in New York, 900 stillbirths on average each year, in New York City specifically. And this rate of this is a rate of 1 in 125 pregnancies, which is 33% worse than the national US. And a breakdown for New York City fatal death does not include by race or was not available. Nonetheless to say, I would like to see the change in the aftercare for stillbirth parents, especially for stillbirth parents of color. It's oftentimes, I don't want to say a community, but it's oftentimes a place of loneliness, and it happens to us at alarming rates. And there is an expectation of just move on, and just the post-pregnancy visits are really subpar. Trying to get answers while grieving. There should be an aftercare team designated for stillbirth parents. This should just be standard. There should be better protocols so that every parent is provided with resources, detailed protocols for prevention moving forward, and definitely just answers on what can be done moving forward for prevention. I thank you all for your time, and I thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of my boys, Aiden and Carter.
Thank you so much, Ellie, and thank you for speaking on behalf of Elijah's Way as well. We really do appreciate you all and appreciate you being willing to step in. I do believe that Sabrina Tate has been able to get audio available, so I think if we can get Sabrina to join us.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
We can.
Okay, perfect. Yes, you actually said it right the first time, Sabrina. So my name is Sabrina Tate. Yeah, it just felt different.
All right, thank you, Sabrina. Go ahead.
No problem. Sorry for the connection issue. I'm actually away on vacation with my family, but my name is Sabrina Tate. I'm from New Jersey, and I represent my daughter Lily, who was born stillborn in 2020. My pregnancy was a normal pregnancy, and after my routine 20-week checkup, my cervix opened. And for me, the doctors didn't do the due diligence that they needed to do in order to prevent my cervix opening initially. So 80% of stillbirths are taking place in pregnancies with no known risk factors presented. And in my case, I had a healthy 40-week pregnancy 2 years prior to getting pregnant with my daughter. And after I experienced my, what they call incompetent cervix, they were like, well, next time we can do this, and next time we can do this, versus just having a routine check of a cervix at 13 weeks 15 weeks or whatever the requirements after you've experienced an incompetent cervix. And, you know, it was, for me, there was no real answers. It was just, these things just happen. And the insensitivity from the doctors caused me to end up actually leaving the hospital and going to a different hospital where, granted, there wasn't much they could do by that point because it just gotten too far. But a lot of times these pregnancies do fall through the cracks. And I believe, I can remember the previous person I spoke with, she said, you know, she's afraid to even try again. And I'm at that point where I'm just fearful because I know the good and the not so good things that happen with pregnancies. And because I'm more so nervous for the care that I would be getting because I've experienced this. So I know it can happen, but I would need someone that's going to be able to really put that time and care into myself once I do become pregnant. But like I said, I believe if there's, you know, something that's put in place where regardless of you having a healthy cervix or not, that they're put something in place that checks everyone's cervix, and we shouldn't have to wait till someone has experienced a loss to say, oh, well, next time we will check your cervix. And that's what I have to share. Thank you, Samantha, for putting this together, and thank you for your time.
Serena, thank you so much, and very much appreciate your comments. I'll now turn to Erica Bailey. Erica, are you available?
She has an emergency, so she's actually not able to speak today.
Okay, thank you for letting me know that. I appreciate it, and I hope everything is okay. With that, then, I will ask if Catherine Cox has joined us.
Yes, I'm here.
Catherine, I'm going to recognize you now for 3 minutes. Please proceed. Appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you very much. My name is Catherine Cox. Unlike many lost moms, I had a high-risk pregnancy, and I was aware of stillbirth. I received excellent care, but it wasn't enough to prevent my son from dying. I conceived my son through IVF. I was 30 years old, and I have controlled hypertension, each of which made me high risk. Despite all of this, however, my pregnancy was perfect. Every visit was passed with flying colors. By 28 weeks, I had weekly non-stress tests, and each ended with, he's perfect. At 30 weeks, I got COVID. It was mild, but one morning I had spotting, so I went to labor and delivery. Along with the spotting and mild contractions, my doctors found a blood clot in my cervix. Fearing placental abruption, I was kept in the hospital for 5 days while they monitored my baby's heart rate. For 5 days, he was perfect. The blood clot was never mentioned again. No testing was done to determine what caused it. I continued my NSTs weekly and had biweekly Dopplers and girth ultrasounds. They continued to detect mild contractions, so my baby was monitored for a few hours 2 more times, and again I was sent home because everything was perfect. At 33 weeks and 6 days, I had an NST. Great movement, great practice breathing, only mild contractions. So they sent me home. Less than 36 hours later, my baby was dead. Before he was delivered, my doctor suspected COVID was the cause. When they inspected the placenta, however, they only saw small infarcts, so he listed his cause of death as unknown. At my 6 weeks postpartum follow-up, my OB tested me for antiphospholipid syndrome, and a few weeks later, I was officially diagnosed. They believe that APS is what caused the placental infarcts and my son's death. I'm not here to suggest that every person who is considering pregnancy be tested for APS. As Dr. Silver has written, an APS diagnosis actually is not very predictive of fetal death. What I don't understand, however, is why an NST was relied on to ensure my son's health. One of my OBs told me after my son's death that only 1 in 9,000 reactive NSTs led to stillbirth within a week. I don't know where she got that statistic, but it tells me that she trusted the NST, even for a high-risk pregnancy like mine, to determine if my baby's in trouble. However, as you probably know, ACOG's 2000 guidelines on antepartum fetal surveillance state the NST does not hold predictive value and only indicates fetal blood oxygen at the time of the test. The NST was useless to detect that my baby needed help, and the same can be said for so many other parents, including some here today. Why wasn't more testing done? Why didn't I have weekly Doppler ultrasounds with my hypertension and the blood clot with an unknown origin? My son was stillborn 5 months and 6 days ago. Since then, I've been living in a virtually catatonic state. I don't see friends. I barely see family. My mother-in-law cries when she sees me. My 15-year-old niece has the poem she read at her cousin's funeral in her iPhone case. My husband and I spend our weekends on my son's grave because he's our only child, our only purpose, and we don't want to spend our time anywhere else. Stillbirth destroys lives and families. When I lost my son, I lost myself and interest in everyone and everything I previously loved. Stillbirth prevention is urgent. My son was one of 23,000 babies who died last year. Mine is one of 23,000 families that will never be the same. I knew stillbirth could happen, but neither I nor my doctors had the knowledge to stop my son from dying what I believe was a preventable death. Thank you very much for your time.
Catherine, thank you so much. And thank you for being here when I know it's probably very difficult for you to participate, given what you shared. And I also want to just acknowledge for everyone on the call that the loss and the trauma that you're sharing is very difficult, I know, for many of you. And I just want to recognize how very powerful and very meaningful this is, and just how grateful we are for your willingness. So thank you again. And Catherine, all the best to you and your family. Angelica Kovach, I don't know if you've been able to join us.
Right here. I don't know if you can hear me okay.
We can hear you just fine, Angelica. I'm going to yield to you for 3 minutes. Please go ahead and begin.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Angelica Kovach from Boise, Idaho. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak today. I am a mother to 1 living child and 2 angel babies, and I'm also a registered nurse in a level 3 neonatal ICU. My husband and I lost our 2nd child, Ezra Wild, to stillbirth on June 1st of 2020 at 33 weeks and 5 days gestation due to several days of umbilical cord compression and anoxia. As a healthcare professional who was completely aware that something like this could happen during my pregnancy, I still felt completely blindsided. My heart is broken, and I constantly asked myself how I didn't know that my son was fighting for his life while he still occupied my own body. The night Ezra died, when I realized I hadn't felt him move since about lunchtime, I was at work. I shrugged it off, finished my charting, and delayed care for 4 hours, using what I now know is outdated recommendation for his movement, 10 kicks in 2 hours. I didn't want to go into triage right away because I didn't want to be a burden to the medical staff. So often I have heard disparaging comments from physician and nursing staff about overly anxious parents seeking help when everything is okay, and that is okay. Because of that, I convinced myself that my concerns were all in my head. When I went into triage in the wee hours of the following morning, the nurse couldn't find Ezra's heartbeat with the Doppler, and the on-call OB spent what felt like an eternity trying to find any indication of movement via ultrasound. But Ezra had already been gone for a couple of hours. When my son died, my world was turned upside down. Every day over the past 2.5 years has felt like some sick survival game. Add to that the fact that as time has passed, I have heard far too many stories that sound eerily similar. Countless lost parents have told me that all they wanted was one person to validate their feelings of urgency and impending doom, someone to tell them it was okay to go to their provider to check up on their baby. While I understand that changes to practice are methodical and based on evidence provided from research, I plead with you to place some stopgap measures while we wait for pending studies to give us further guidance. I ask that the 3 following non-invasive practices be considered for prevention of losses like my own. 1, asking parents to establish what normal fetal movement means for their baby using tools like the Count the Kicks app. 2, requesting that prenatal providers ask more than just, is your baby moving, when assessing adequacy of fetal movement. And 3, modifying prenatal education to establish that healthcare providers are there because of and for the patients, and empowering all expectant parents to use their mom and dad voices when they have a concern regarding their baby. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Angelica, so much for sharing your story and for your recommendations. If we can now, I will move to Camilla Castor. Camilla, are you with us today?
Yes, I'm here.
Great. Camilla, I'll yield to you for 3 minutes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate the time to be able to speak in this space. My name is Camilla Castor. I'm a Latina from Texas. I live in Texas. So I'm here today. I have a little bit of a unique story. I can give you a little bit of background since we only have 3 minutes. After 2 perfect pregnancies and 2 children here on earth, me and my husband decided to give a family who'd been struggling with infertility their whole life the gift of having their first child. I went through IVF, who I asked my provider if there was any risk of IVF, if there was any adverse outcomes with doing IVF. And just like everyone else says, I believe I'm here to plead you to implement policies, to implement standard of care so that everyone has that same standard of care, and OBs are forced to treat every pregnancy the same and have to do this care. So I've had the same OB. She's a wonderful OB. She was the president of my big hospital here in my city. So that proves to you that it doesn't come from the provider themselves. A lot of times I believe it comes from years and years of working and being taught in a broken system. So I asked her, is IVF more of a risk? She told me no. Now I have learned that IVF, you are 4 times more at risk for having a stillbirth. So I went through a pregnancy. My body took well. I was able to get off hormones. I have a perfect pregnancy. I went to high risk doctors because it was a surrogacy. I had extra appointments, extra sonograms, and every single time I was reassured that every single thing was perfect. It was perfect with me, perfect with this baby. And so at 38 weeks, I went to the doctor and I noticed I hadn't gained any weight that week from 37 to 38. And I asked if that was anything normal. And she said it could be normal. So I let it go. From in between that 38 week to my 39 week appointment, which was my scheduled delivery date, I went in 5 days before because I had called for reduced fetal movement. I asked for a sonogram and she told me I had already had the sonograms that the insurance would cover. So I did not get a sonogram. They did 30 seconds on a Doppler and told me that everything was okay, that I will be at my C-section in 5 days. 3 days after that, I started projectile vomiting. I couldn't even keep water down. So I called the emergency line and told them the baby's not moving as much. I'm vomiting. So they said, you'll be fine. You're delivering in 2 days. And they sent me a Zofran prescription. So I took a Zofran and hoped for the best for 2 days. On July 21st, 2021, July 14th, 2021, I showed up with the baby's parents, her grandparents, my husband, and a whole entourage behind me, only to find out that the baby had died. And so then I had to sit in a room by myself because no one was trained on what to do for me. So I sat in a room with somebody else's dead child inside of my womb for 3 hours while I heard her parents shriek and cry in the room next to me. Then I went through a C-section in silence while I heard the techs ask my OB, when is the last time this person showed up to an appointment, when I was there 5 days prior. As I was going to leave the hospital, I was so lost and confused as to what happened because nobody gave me an answer. The last thing I remember asking my OB while everyone was in the room, my father, who is also a physician, my husband, my brother, who's also a physician, and the baby's parents, her mom and dad, and her 2 grandparents. And I asked her, does this happen? And she turned around and looked at me and said, this is so rare. So that led to me investigating and finding out that 65 babies die every day in the United States. And that is one thing that I have every single day since this stillbirth. I wake up and the first thought that I have is that 65 mothers today are going to lose a baby and have to carry a dead child inside of their womb. And no matter how many meetings I have had in this 1.5 years, nothing has been done about it, but said, thank you for your story. And that also led, my provider not being educated, also led to the baby's parents having extreme guilt, not knowing and blaming me. So they quit talking to me, tried to sue me 1 year later, and I'm still dealing with the trauma. I'm still going to therapy every single day. It's a new wound that opens up as I hear these stories because it's heart-wrenching to know that nothing is being done. And it's such a low level of education that every provider I have encountered. When I came at my 6-week appointment after my stillbirth, I had to educate my provider on what an EPV was. And she was doctor of the year at the hospital, like I said, has her own practice for the past 25 years. I had to educate her on how to teach patients how to track fetal movement, how to do EPVs. I had to send her trainings for our Rainbow Clinic in New York on how to deal with patients with a loss. And I have had to teach her on how to support her stillbirth moms afterward, because I was told that this was something that never happened, and it made me feel like it was absolutely my fault, and it turned something wonderful that I was doing into the worst thing of my life. And I'm here to ask you to please take stillbirth prevention as a national urgency that it is, because it is, babies and mothers are dropping like flies and it needs to be addressed. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Camilla, and I appreciate you highlighting the issues, as others have, around mental health, as well as IVF and preventable risk factors, and it is something that we are looking very closely at. So thank you for raising those. If I can now ask Anna Vick.
Present.
If she joined us. Anna, have you joined us?
I am here.
Okay, Anna, please begin.
I'm here with my husband, Joshua Vick.
Hello, hello.
And this is a representation of our son, Owen Nathaniel Vick, who would have been 7 this year, and he was this length and this weight. So you can see he was clearly a big boy, ready to be home with us. We had a perfect, healthy textbook pregnancy, it was called. Every time we came in, all of our concerns were kind of swept aside. I did have a few issues throughout the pregnancy. I just felt weak, and they never took an extra look at my son. I do look back now and wonder if they had given me an extra ultrasound in the 3rd trimester, maybe they would have noticed what was happening with my son's cord, which we have now found out, which took me a lot of work. To be honest, the hospital did nothing to help us find the cause. We requested meetings. I stayed up every night. I was probably going insane, because a parent who loses a child who is supposed to be born within the next 2 months and is told, we don't know why your baby died. Sometimes healthy babies just die. That doesn't sit well with you. You know, I wasn't just heartbroken. My mind could not understand it. I'm also educated. I went to UCLA for psychology. I had a daughter before. I did not understand how my son just flat out died out of nowhere. And it was actually a crash C-section. So I went in and I was just worried. I was never told about fetal movement either, but I had read about it and I looked it up and I started kick counting, and he was just not responding the way he normally does. So my husband stayed home with our daughter. I went in, I had no information given to me until the doctor finally arrived and said, we have to take your baby out. His heartbeat was crashing. And so I called my husband, let him know this. And at that point I was put under, and all I could do was pray for him and for me. I needed to live. I know in these situations there's more risk for the mother as well. It was a crash C-section, as I said. So I was very scared for my own life. My husband here can give a little bit of his perspective as a father, because it has definitely affected him also.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, PTSD is a extremely difficult thing to deal with. And the tough part for me is I was on the phone with her pretty much the whole time on speaker. And when they said they had to take him out, or the baby, we didn't know at the time. I had a friend of ours come over and watch our daughter, and I flew over there, and I got there and she was basically unconscious, and then they kind of brought me in. Well, it made me upset because I beat the doctor there. I'm like, how did I beat the main doctor there? I saw her slowly walking up in the parking lot. I didn't know who it was at the time because I didn't meet this doctor. I got to the room before she did. And then because they were trying to bring me in, and they're like, oh, no, we're having problems, I guess. And then they brought me back out. And I'm like, okay. So I'm sitting in this room by myself. And then they said, we're sorry, your son didn't make it. And they brought me in, and they hand me Owen, and I'm sitting there. Anna's, unconscious. So I'm having to deal with the loss of our son all by myself, and 4 random doctors that I didn't know standing around me. And then I had to tell her we lost our son when she woke up. So I had to go through it twice, and that destroyed me. That was it for me, honestly. There is no coming back from that. I don't care how strong you are. There's no coming back from that. So it's been extremely difficult on all of our families, because when you affect the parents, that also affects our living children. And, we freak out over so many things that most parents don't. And that affects them. That, makes them high anxiety. So it was very tragic.
So our whole purpose with this is to find the cause of our son's death was for ourselves as well. We wanted to become pregnant again. It would have helped with the pregnancy after loss, but unfortunately the doctors did nothing on their end. They actually discouraged the autopsy when we were told Sometimes parents don't find out information and then they regret doing it, and it costs you money and all the barriers, being placed for us to find out what exactly happens. But I did get the fortune of finding out now 6 years after through placenta pathology that he did die from cord compressions, which has helped me a lot just as a griever, but also to help other parents. I think the information will be very, very valuable to help save other lives. And so I'm actually working to have his data updated, and I'm being told in many ways that this is just not going to happen, but they don't know me yet. I'm a mother who is very determined, and my son's death and life matters. The reason he died matters, and it's going to be put in there so that other people can know and they can save other children. Because it's not just not happening for any reason. Like they say, like, oh, we don't know why this is happening. This is what a lot of parents get told. And that's why it continues to be a cycle. And the crisis continues with the same number of babies dying every single day. And I can't live with myself with that information. I just, the same as Camilla mentioned, I every day think about those 65 families going through this today, and it breaks my heart. And it also makes me very angry because it shouldn't be happening. We have a lot of information, and a lot of this data isn't being put in, as was presented by Dr. Dudley. Since this gets kind of input right away, they don't even know. The autopsies are not back. We don't even have placenta pathology back. So why are they rushing the process? If it was anybody else, we would make sure we knew exactly why this person died, and we would make sure it's correct, and we would go back and correct it. And I don't think it should be on the parents, financially or otherwise. This should just be systemic. Everyone deserves a reason. I deserve to know why my son died, and you all deserve to have that in there available for research for the future families of this country. So we thank you for this time and for all you're doing to help us.
Thank you, Anna and Joshua. Thank you for also highlighting the data limitations and also for talking about the mental health implications. We do appreciate it. We are going to switch gears a little bit for organizations to speak to us, and so I will now recognize Meredith McLeod Cobb, and again, please correct me, who is representing Oliver's Way. I'm also going to remind folks, and it's just because we want to be respectful of people who may be joining or have to leave, we are trying to keep individual comments to 3 minutes and organizational comments to 5 minutes. When you see me come on camera, that means you have about a minute left. I'm trying not to interrupt because I recognize that this is a very difficult situation, and so I'm trying to be respectful, but just want to remind everybody of the parameters. So I really do appreciate you all being attentive to them. So Meredith, if you're with us from Oliver's Way, I will yield to you for 5 minutes.
Yes, I have slides. I don't know if, okay, great.
Fantastic.
Thank you. I'm with Oliver's Way. It is the public charity that my family has established to carry on the living work of our son and brother, Oliver James McLeod Cobb. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Oliver died on January 8th of previous slide. 2021. My care team was highly experienced. They had 30 plus years of experience with the OB. The MFM was in his 70s, and there was care continuity throughout the pregnancy, and it was the same team as my prior living pregnancy. The immediate cause of death was incorrect interpretation of the NST and the hours before his death. I presented to my OB with concerns of reduced fetal movement and then ultimately frantic movement during the NST. With no prior medical experience, I disputed the NST findings and her interpretation, and she ripped the NST report off and argued with me about the interpretation. And I subsequently found out after my son's death that I was indeed correct. And there was no baseline to be established and that I should have been admitted to the hospital. Investigations that we completed after his death were all led by me. There was no process for investigating his death. I was simply pushed out by the physician in the hospital to figure it out myself. I saw 7 MFMs for case reviews. I was fortunate. The only thing that really went right is that I had an autopsy with placental pathology and neuropathology. I was fortunate to have an amnio with a whole exome, CMA, and karyotype all being normal. And I had an MFM re-review all of my ultrasounds. Next slide, please. So the risk factors for stillbirth in my case were large. Known during the pregnancy was that my son had a single umbilical artery. There were multiple fibroids with degeneration and prostaglandin release during the pregnancy. I had preterm labor at 27 weeks with an antepartum admission. I had advanced cervical dilation from 26 weeks onward, and there was an ER visit for decreased fetal movement at 30 plus weeks. What should have been known during the pregnancy was that there was hypercoiling and marginal insertion of my cord into the placenta of my son's. And then note upon his death was that there was a true knot, numerous placental malperfusion findings, and signs of subacute, chronic, and acute brain damage. Next slide, please. The bottom line in my case, and what I want you to take away from this, is that all signs pointed to an impending stillbirth. Yet no one was looking at it. And when I asked my MFM incidentally about stillbirth in the weeks prior, he said shit happens and there's nothing we can do about it. Yet the research is clear that physician attitudes around stillbirth affect outcomes. Maternal death is regarded as a very serious event in a hospital and triggers the quality team to go ahead and look at the situation, yet stillbirth is treated as a tragic fetal outcome. Next slide, please. Additional findings, he was genetically and anatomically normal, and that there was brain damage throughout, all missed. Oliver would have been home is the hardest part about this is, you know, if I had followed my gut and gone to a different provider or continued to argue with her about her interpretation of the NST, he would have been home. And so he didn't make it home because I trusted my provider. Instead, we've rebuilt our entire lives. We've moved states for better care. We've spent thousands on grief therapy for my living son, myself, and my husband. We have purchased burial plots as a family. We've gone through 5 rounds of IVF and a 6-hour uterine surgery, and we've spent thousands on personalized care in a subsequent pregnancy. Next slide, please. So this is my wish list. I think that we need to fund research to create a risk profile in all pregnancies for stillbirth and maternal death, such that as new diagnoses are added or events occur in the pregnancy, the risk updates as we go, and all of the care team and the mother are aware of this risk and can be counting movements and doing everything they need to prevent. And secondly, very importantly, is there needs to be a third-party oversight committee for managing stillbirths and for the investigations afterwards. We wouldn't expect the CEO of Shell to head up the EPA. Next slide, please. And we need to create a mandated right and process for women to go through a second opinion in pregnancy with a higher level provider than they currently have access to. Existing Medicaid and insurances prevent women from getting a second opinion, and this kind of is highlighted by the Hear Her campaign by the CDC, but there's currently no process for doing that. And then the sentinel issue in mind was that OB-GYNs are not required to have NST certification yearly like LNDs are, and then mandated coverage for autopsies across, Medicaid and commercial insurance is critical, both for preventing another stillbirth and then just maternal health in general and mental health and understanding your child's story. Thank you.
Thank you, Meredith. Thank you.
Thanks.
So I will now turn to Jasmine Abraham from Count the Kick. And Jasmine, I believe you also sent slides, so we will bring those up for you if you are with us.
Yes, please. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, and again, just asking folks to be respectful of time.
Absolutely.
I will turn it to you, please.
Great. So hi, everyone. We're going to start out here with a page of our baby saves. So we want to talk about prevention. I appreciate you guys all being here and being willing to listen to our stories, but understanding that there is a solution that's already out there right now that's helping stillbirths in America. And so look at the faces of these babies. And the doctors that delivered them say that Count the Kicks is what helped them bring these babies and deliver them safely. Many of the women that use the app spoke up and their doctors listened. And because of that, you see these beautiful faces. So my name is Jasmine Abraham. I am one of the Ohio ambassadors for Count the Kicks. And I am so appreciative to be here and speak on behalf of our organization. If you can go to the next slide, please. So in Iowa, we have heard from, I apologize, it's a proven stillbirth prevention organization in the US, which has an evidence-based Count the Kicks campaign. And this has helped save babies in 33 different states in 5 different countries so far. Next slide, please. So in Iowa, where Count the Kicks began, experienced a 32% reduction in stillbirth from 2008 to 2018. And today they continue to maintain a near historic low stillbirth rate. You can see that their rate is in the teal dots, and that America's stillbirth rate is on the red line for comparison. They have worked with the Iowa Health Department and Public Health to talk to birthing hospitals, MFM obstetricians to achieve this reduction, as well as outreach to moms. And in the first 5 years of implementation of Count the Kicks, they were able to reduce the stillbirth rate by 39%. And that was specifically among Black women. Alexander Hazel is a prominent stillbirth researcher from Manchester, United Kingdom, and he has published dozens of papers on fetal movement, and he's recently studied the Iowa data that's come out regarding Count the Kicks and comparing them to their neighboring states who have a much higher stillbirth rate. You could go to the next, which is a video.
It's really important that we look at that in the context of the American stillbirth rate. So we know that the United States of America has one of the highest stillbirth rates in high-income countries, and also, sadly, one of the lowest rates of improvement. So overall, the United States stillbirth rate is only going down at 0.8% per year between 2000 and 2015. So being able to demonstrate that we've got a rate going down at 1% every 3 months in Iowa, so that's much faster than the United States population average, that tells us that something's happening in Iowa that isn't necessarily happening in the rest of the United States.
And that's very true. Something is happening in Iowa, and that is that they have fully endorsed the Count the Kicks campaign. We can go to the next slide, please.
It's really important.
So a little bit about me. I learned about this information just a little bit too late. I had asked my doctor in the 3rd trimester, because all the apps had told me to start counting my kicks, whether counting kicks was actually a thing that I should be doing. And she told me that because my baby was active, I didn't need to worry about it. So I learned how to ignore my son's kicks because they were very painful and he was very active. The CDC's Hear Her campaign lists a change in baby's movements as one of the 15 urgent maternal warning signs, but it doesn't explain why it's important or how to monitor or know your baby's normal. Next slide, please. Our son Qasim was born still at 37 weeks in June of 2020. I don't think you can imagine how incredibly hard it was to pick up the dirt to put on my son's grave. This was my first baby. This was my first pregnancy. And this is the outcome. And I didn't even know what the term stillbirth was until I was having one. Next slide, please. The evidence-based Count the Kicks campaign educates and empowers expectant parents to monitor their baby's movements every day in the 3rd trimester at the same time and to speak up if they notice a change. If I had practiced kick counting, then I would have realized that Qasim wasn't moving, and maybe he would be with me today. Next slide, please. Research shows that more than half of all stillbirths, moms notice a change in their baby's movements before their baby dies. And the fetal infant mortality review programs across this country tell us that too many moms were just like me and don't know that this is an important warning sign. Next slide, please. When moms are educated and empowered, you're speaking about changing movements, you get a chance to investigate and intervene if necessary. Next slide, please. Bright yellow posters and brochures have been created for the program to spark the kit counting conversation. They catch your eye. And being able to talk openly with your provider and understanding that this is a way to get to know your baby, to bond with your baby, helps put it into a not so scary light. Next slide, please.
And Jasmine, I'm going to need to ask you to wrap up, please.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I couldn't tell you didn't pop up. But basically, if we can just kind of scroll down a few slides to the ambassador page. That's my little rainbow. But these are the women that are working alongside of me, and I so appreciate you guys spending the time and listening to all of us. I know that these stories are hard to hear, and trust me, they're even harder to tell. So thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Jasmine. And I do appreciate that there are others from Competix who are also speaking, so thank you all for joining us today. So if Allie Felker is with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Allie, okay, Allie, I'll yield to you for 3 minutes. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. My name is Allie Felker, and I'm speaking in honor of my son, Hank, who was stillborn on July 1st in 2020. The day before he died, I went in for reduced fetal movement, and I was given an ultrasound where the ultrasound tech had me jumping up and down and counted the change in his foot position as movement, which I now know to be an incorrect way to perform ABPP. I was never educated on the importance of fetal movement or what it could mean for my movements to slow down or, in my case, stop. I was never told that a healthy, normal pregnancy could end in death. But when mine did, my provider shrugged her shoulders and she told me, sometimes these things happen and you may never find a cause. But she was wrong. There was a cause, and had my pregnancy adhered to a standard of care, my son's death could have been prevented. To add insult to injury, his cause of death was never filed. His correct cause of death was never filed. And as a result, I am currently pregnant with my third child, and I now spend nearly every single appointment correcting the cause of my son's stillbirth in my health history. I want you to take a moment and to put yourself in my shoes. Many of you have children, and I want you to imagine either your pregnancy or your partner's pregnancy. I did the right thing. I went in, I had the ultrasound, and the ultrasound tech made it seem like I was overly a concerned parent and that she knew my child better than I did. Being made to feel that a provider knows more about your body than you do, and realizing that those providers were wrong and that their wrong decisions led to the death of your child, is a pain that no parent should have to endure. And yet, I hear the same story every day as an advocate with PUSH, that parents are made to feel crazy as they bring up their concerns. You have heard about the racism that perpetuates loss for BIPOC families. I need to bring to your attention another system that plays into this, and that is the system of paternalism. So as a result, I have 3 asks of you. First, I ask that you look at your own practices and have the humility to identify racism and paternalism. Systematic change begins with the individual, and we all need to look inside ourselves. Second, I ask that you look at the NIH's history with SIDS. Implementation science and information campaigns have saved thousands of lives. Please look at your successes and decide how you can build upon those successes to save babies' lives in terms of stillbirth. And third, please tell Congress it is imperative that we fix our system of data collection for stillbirth. Please make my son's death count. It is too late for Hank. I give my time and my energy because it is not too late for other babies.
Thank you so much, Allie, for your comments. And this definitely will be mentioned. I think if we cannot tell Congress, but you all can tell Congress, and we appreciate
And believe me, we will.
I know you will. Thank you. So now I will turn to Bobby Colon. I'm hoping I'm saying that name correctly. And Bobby, please correct me if I said it incorrectly.
Colon, I say, but people always pronounce it differently. I'm here with my husband. We are lost grandparents. On January 23rd, 2013, my pregnant daughter told me that the baby wasn't moving as much. I don't know. Okay. But she read on the internet that babies don't move so much in the last trimester. The next day I was with her at her regular 35-week checkup, and the doctor asked, "Is baby moving?" And my daughter said yes, but less. And the OB said exactly what the internet said, that babies don't move so much in the last trimester. Following an ultrasound at this appointment, together we heard the words, "I am sorry, there is no heartbeat." Our daughter was induced and delivered her dead baby the next day in the early morning of January 25th, 2013, with her husband by her side. Why wasn't our daughter told about tracking babies' movements? Why would her OB give the same false information that our daughter found on the internet? Quote, "Healthy pregnancies, healthy children, healthy and optimal lives are the goals found on the NICHD website. These goals must include lowering the incidence of preventable stillbirth. Medical providers and elected officials have the resources and are empowered to lower the incidence of stillbirth. Our grandson Oliver rests eternally at Sharon Gardens in Westchester County, New York. What you do at NICHD cannot bring him back, but because we know the pain of having had a baby die, we don't want that for other families. The 23,000 other families that will sadly join this club this year, last year, and next year, if you don't do anything to change this statistic, a statistic that hasn't changed in years. I and my family can no longer be excited when somebody announces their pregnancy. We know stillbirth can happen to anyone, just like it happened to our healthy, fit daughter. We also know stillbirths can be prevented. Research has shown that. Our daughter and son-in-law were the more fortunate ones, if you can call it that. Their doctor recommended an autopsy paid by the hospital, and our county has one neonatal pathologist. Most counties have none. After waiting several months, the results were found to be fetal maternal hemorrhage. In the meeting with the OB and the pathologist, our daughter and son-in-law learned that the OB had 4 cases of stillbirth, and they were all caused by FMH. However, there isn't much research about these causes. Many doctors do not discuss the importance of autopsy and placental review. Most counties and states do not have any or enough trained neonatal pathologists. In order to prevent more deaths, we need this information. Other countries have lowered the incidence of preventable stillbirth. Your committee's work is instrumental in making a difference. And now, today in the United States, another 65 babies will die. Don't let that happen tomorrow and all the tomorrows. Stillbirth has been a silent epidemic, and it is well past time that this be addressed. In a few weeks, our family will honor the memory of Oliver's 10th birthday with a cake, but no Oliver. Families shouldn't have to celebrate a birthday without the birthday child being there. This grandmother and this grandfather would like to thank you and look forward to hearing about NICHD's actions to lower the incidence of preventable stillbirth.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your representation, not only of your daughter and your son-in-law, but your family. So if we can, I believe the next speaker will be Sean Sumilis. Let me hope that I got that semi right.
Yes, you did good. Yes, good job.
All right, Sean, please go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Sean Sumilis, and my son Zach was stillborn at full term in 2010 after an otherwise healthy pregnancy. 2 days before my son died, I noticed a decrease in his movements and was told by my provider that he was just settling down for birth. Zach was my second child, and I was never educated in either pregnancy about the importance of tracking my baby's movements. My experience has led me to be the Arizona ambassador for Count the Kick since 2013. And just this past year, Count the Kicks partnered with the Arizona Department of Health I'm also a complexity scientist and a member of the Maternal Child Health Translational Research Team at Arizona State University. One of my current projects is working with the Arizona Department of Health to write the Fetal Infant Mortality Action Plan for the state of Arizona. These roles help me have a deeper understanding of the dire state of stillbirth and maternal death in our country. It is deeply troubling to see that 12 years after losing my son, things have not gotten better. And one pandemic later, emerging evidence is showing us that things have gotten worse, especially for women of color. Moms and babies continue to die at an alarming rate. Whew, this is emotional. I include moms because we know that stillbirth comes with an increased risk of maternal mortality and morbidity. I can attest to this firsthand as I was considered a near miss. Lost 3 times my blood volume and went into DIC. My family was told I had less than a 20% chance of survival. 12 years later, I faced significant lifelong health issues. I'm a woman of access and privilege who delivered at a posh hospital with valet parking and a spa. My BMI was normal. I've never smoked, and I'm not a drug user. I did yoga, had optimal nutrition, and took care of myself. As like many other stillbirth families I know, I didn't fit the health markers listed by NIH as leading to stillbirth causes. Consequently, the facts are clear. Data, research, and stillbirth initiatives other than Count the Kicks have been stalled in our country for over a decade. Relying on insufficient and outdated data is costing lives. As a stillbirth mom and scientist, I am urging NIH to help protect all of our children and future generations by focusing on the following in 2023. Assist with implementing a national stillbirth data collection system. We know peer countries like Australia have done this and seen a reduction in stillbirth. Initiate a study on the efficacy of Count the Kicks. The baby safe stories that pour in speak for themselves. Initiate qualitative studies to gather the abundant amount of anecdotal evidence from stillbirth families across the country. Their lived experiences will identify additional health markers for stillbirth and pave the way for implementation of effective stillbirth prevention initiatives. Finally, my hope is that the narrative around stillbirth is starting to change. A key piece to making this happen successfully is for researchers and scientists to truly listen to stillbirth families. Now that we know better, we must do better. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you for your comments and your recommendations. With that, I will move to our next speaker, Alex Abend. Hope I said that one right. Thank you. Alex, please go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Alex Abend. I'm the mother of James Robert Niclario, a stillborn baby boy who should be turning 1 next week. On January 11th, 2022, I was 34 weeks pregnant with our first child. I went in for a routine OB visit and had gestational hypertension, and only because of that, I was getting these routine biophysical profiles. James had a biophysical profile done and he passed. The OB who I saw that day was one of the few OBs in the practice who checks the tech and does a Doppler, even after the ultrasound turns out normal. So when she did the Doppler, she had trouble finding a heartbeat. We did a second ultrasound in the office. When they did the second ultrasound, his heartbeat was down to 90. The doctor told us to go to labor and delivery at the hospital. We could take an Uber. When we got to labor and delivery, after getting a congratulations from the receptionist and waiting to be hooked up to a monitor and talking about insurance, we finally got another ultrasound. This time, we were told our son had no heartbeat. The whole experience from our initial OB visit to hearing that our son died in my womb lasted under 2 hours. I delivered him over 9 hours later via C-section, only because my doctor was humane enough and understood that I was going to be at risk of trauma from delivering him via a vaginal birth. 1 week later, I landed back in the exact same hospital room due to postpartum preeclampsia with a blood pressure of 170 over 118. It wasn't until the 6-month anniversary of his death, through organizations such as PUSH and the Rainbow Clinic, the first one in the United States, that we were able to get answers that James died of a cord accident, a combination of a marginal insertion, something I didn't know he had at the 20-week anatomy scan, and the placenta having to work harder than it should, and a kink in the cord. We are now, today, at January 5th, 2023, just 6 days from James's 1-year anniversary, and I'm 19 weeks pregnant with our second child. The aftermath of a stillbirth is life-shattering. I'm a special education attorney, and all my clients are children, a trigger in and of itself. And approaching January 11th, I'm pregnant again, having flashbacks, nightmares, all the symptoms of PTSD. I'm pregnant and I'm grieving, and I'm trying to honor my dead son while growing a hopefully alive baby girl, all at the same time, all within a world where we're comfortable with the idea that some things just happen. So I'm speaking today, not because I think James's death necessarily could have been prevented. He died in front of medical professionals in real time, but because it's unacceptable to me as a woman living in the United States that pregnancy outcomes are given such little consideration. And in any other area of science, when we find something we don't know and we can't understand, we don't just leave it be. We ask ourselves, why does it happen? How does it happen? But for some reason, stillbirths don't get that, especially those with cord accidents. We, in this country, it's unacceptable to me that we don't utilize the tools available to us as a 21st century for every single pregnancy. We can travel to outer space. We can make people cancer-free. We're driving electric cars. And so why can't we find out why stillbirth still happens? Why cord accidents happen, why placentas are small, and how to fix it. So the thing that needs to change, what this group needs to do, is increase the research around stillbirth and elevate the standard of care around all pregnancies and all pregnancy outcomes. Thank you.
Alex, thank you. And we share your sentiment that too often women's health issues, especially maternal health and infant outcomes, are very much understudied, and we do what we can, but we very much appreciate that sentiment as well. So I'm going to now invite Ann O'Neill from Measure the Placenta as an organization to speak. Ann, are you available?
Yes, I'm here, and I have slides.
Great. We'll be pulling them up. And Ann, again, just as a reminder, you'll have 5 minutes. I may pop up, but I'll also try and give you a signal as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much for holding this meeting. I really appreciate this. I cannot see the slides. Can anybody else? There we go. My name is Dr. Ann O'Neill. I am the director of Measure the Placenta. We have one goal. We want to see placenta size measured during pregnancy as a risk factor for poor outcomes. Is the next slide there? Can anybody see the slides? Can you go to the next slide, please? I'm not here because I want to be here. I'm here because my son, Elijah David O'Neill, was stillborn on his due date back in 2018. It was a very healthy pregnancy. I had no known risk factors. You can see this picture of him here on the left. This is also part of his funeral program. Instead of nursing a baby, I dealt with engorged breasts and planned his funeral. And this is what we came up with for the cover of his program. We held him after he was born. We cremated him. We asked a million questions. And yet the pathologist, 3 months after his death, said, "I don't know why your son died." But one thing they ignored almost completely, next slide, please, was his placenta. Elijah was a big baby. He was a little bit over 80th percentile. Meanwhile, his placenta was less than 3rd percentile. This was almost completely ignored. The final cause of death in his initial pathology report was cause of death unknown. I have a background in research. I have a PhD in environmental science. So when I have questions like this, I go to the research. Next slide, please. Combing through the research was devastating, confusing, and made me feel like a crazy person because I saw graphs like this one right here. This is from a paper in 2012, many years before Elijah's stillbirth. And it shows this placental weight z-score on the x-axis and probability of stillbirth. And you can see very clearly, as a placenta is smaller, the probability of stillbirth increases. And I will note this graph only goes down to a z-score of -2. Many of the families we've connected with that measure the placenta have placental weight z-scores much smaller than -2. This study also found that placenta size is a risk factor independent of birth weight. And so it is not sufficient to just look at the fetus to determine if the placenta is small. This paper also found that roughly 17% of all the births in this study, it was a large study, 80,000 babies, of 17% of all these stillbirths were potentially attributable to a small placenta. Next slide, please. I only have 5 minutes. I can't go through all the research linking small placentas and abnormal placental size to poor birth outcomes, but there are many studies. Here's just a few citations. We have a resource on the measuretheplacenta.org website that can show you many, many, many more studies. So imagine me as a lost mom. I've been told that my son's placenta size didn't matter, that the cause of his death was unknown, that placenta size wasn't a risk factor. And then I dive into the research and I see paper after paper after paper that links abnormal placenta size to poor birth outcomes. And I know the problem here is implementation. What could we do? If only there was a way to measure placenta size during pregnancy. And in fact, that's one thing all these papers have in common. Almost all of them say, if only we could measure placenta size during pregnancy, then we could potentially avert some of these otherwise low-risk pregnancies, the stillbirths that happen. Next slide, please. So since then, we at Measure the Placenta have connected with Dr. Harvey Kleiman at Yale University. Many years before Elijah's stillbirth, he and his father collaborated to come up with a simple measurement called estimated placenta volume. It is 3 linear measurements. It's free. It just requires a standard ultrasound, no fancy technology. It does not take much time. We absolutely must integrate this into prenatal care. So, next slide, please. Many lost families have written over now 5,000 letters to ACOG, imploring, begging, demanding that we get placentas measured during prenatal care as a risk factor for stillbirth. One thing that came of this, next slide, please, was a meeting with Dr. Christopher Zahn. He's the Chief of Clinical Practice and Health Equity at ACOG, and he says, we would be happy to implement EPV once the research is there showing that it's acceptable to implement this in large scale. And he said, you need to go talk to the NICHD and ask them to please fund a large prospective study on EPV. So I am here on behalf of all of these lost families, on behalf of Dr. Christopher Zahn at ACOG, who told me to ask you this. Please, we urgently need your help to fill this research gap so that placenta size can be monitored during pregnancy and not just afterwards. Next slide, please. I'm going to end right here with a graph. This isn't data in the purest, cause and effect sense of the word, but we did submit for the RFI. These are the placenta sizes and gestational age at stillbirth of the families who signed our RFI. These are the families who wonder if their baby's placenta had potentially been measured during pregnancy, if maybe their baby would still be here. Please, I implore you, fund the research that needs to happen to get this risk factor accounted for during pregnancy. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Anne. And I want to recognize, I think NICHD is pretty much the only institute that has systemically measured the placenta. It's an under-recognized organ, and we've had a full initiative on it. So this is very aligned with our work. So thank you for highlighting it. With that, I will turn to Laura Drake. Laura, if you are on, and again, folks, I just want to remind us, we are going back into individual sessions, and so we're asking you to stay within 3 minutes if possible. We're trying to be respectful of the times we told people that they would be presenting. I know we've had some adjustments, but Laura, are you available?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
January 5th is the date I found out 2 years ago that my daughter, Rowan Iris Drake, had no heartbeat. I could talk endlessly about the impact this has had on our lives. Stillbirth is like an atomic bomb that explodes and leaves no area of your life untouched. If funding is a concern, the cost of things that have been covered, like mental health, has been tremendous. I was under the care of a maternal fetal medicine doctor due to IVF at my age of 40. I was also allocated a phone nurse through my insurance, which is great. However, the information provided by her was not as accurate as the wonderful information I now know exists through Pusher-Empowered Pregnancy and Count the Kicks. I was told 10 movements in 2 hours was fine, and that movement might change in the 3rd trimester as she changed positions and because of my anterior placenta. I was never educated on frantic movement, which in hindsight, she did have a few weeks prior. At the hospital, I was expecting a diagnostic ultrasound to check for potential causes in order to plan for future pregnancies before she deteriorated further. This was not offered. The only reason I knew about placental analysis via Dr. Kleiman was because I had happened to previously attend a support group facilitated by a therapist who was also a grief doula, who I called from the hospital. The Los Angeles hospital acted like this was really unusual. No protocol checklist seemed to exist. It was up to myself in labor and my husband to research, advocate, and implement testing. Dr. Kleiman determined that Rowan's likely cause of death was fetal maternal hemorrhage, and her placenta was extremely large, 99th percentile. All other testing, including chromosomal testing, was normal. Could her placenta size have been a risk for bleeding? If I had had monitoring as another data point, along with better movement education, if I was in my birth country of Australia, would she be celebrating her second birthday this year? I was in induced labor for 5 days. I was not offered a C-section, nor was I educated on the risks of hemorrhage with such prolonged labor. Sure enough, my placenta didn't detach and I was rushed into emergency surgery, narrowly escaping a hysterectomy, having a large blood and plasma transfusion. I ended up with scar tissue, rendering me unlikely to be able to carry a pregnancy again. My husband both died that day. When I finally woke up, my time with her was extremely limited as no cooling cot was available, which should also be a standard of care. We had to weigh our precious time with her against the potential accuracy of autopsy results. If we want to give our embryos a chance of life, we will have to use a gestational carrier, self-funded. I worry that if I, as someone in a demographic who is perceived as getting the highest standard of care, went through this, how can I advocate for someone who is considered low risk or in a more rural area with less access? We should be doing everything we can to save babies that could be saved. But if we saved even one, it would be well worth it. Thank you for your time.
Laura, thank you so much. I'll now invite Elena Viet, or it may be Vet. Elena, are you with us?
I am. Can you hear me?
I can.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you hosting this today and for allowing us to tell our stories. My first son, Dylan, would be 8 years old. He was stillborn on July 4th, 2014. And every time I tell his story, I choke up. At 33 weeks gestation, after a normal and healthy pregnancy, he died due to a placental abruption with no known risk factors. We did extensive testing after he died, and we couldn't find a cause for the placental abruption. We'd gone in the day before Dylan died because I had cramping and discomfort. But after 2 hours of monitoring, I was sent home. During that monitoring, his heart rate was normal and I was not having contractions. The doctors thought I had a UTI, but within 12 hours of us being sent home, he died. I'm here today, and I'm a part of Push for Empowered Pregnancy because we need to do better. We need to increase the research and understanding of why this happens, and in particular when there's complications with the placenta. Thank you.
Elena, thank you. And thank you so much for bringing that story forward and for talking about the preventive and missed opportunities. We do appreciate it. What I would like to do, I think, Rachel, I see you. So I will move to, and I'm going to hope I didn't get this wrong, Uncle Vic. Is that correct? Okay.
That's perfect.
Perfect, Rachel. So I will be moving to you, and thank you for joining us today. Please go ahead and begin.
My daughter, Ruthie May, was born on a Wednesday at 37 and a half weeks pregnant. It was September 16th, 2020. She was named after my great-grandmother and my godmother, who had just died of pancreatic cancer. Ruthie was born dead at 10:49 in the morning. The doctors sliced open my abdomen, 7 layers of my body, and lifted her into the air. Her body was carried around the curtain. There are no words to describe what it felt like to first see her face. I'm not religious, but the only analogies I can come up with are religious. Elizabeth seeing the angel Paul on the road to Damascus. I can describe her, but it is insufficient. She had brown hair. She was 19.5 inches long. She weighed 5 pounds and 15.3 ounces. She's loved beyond measure. Her skin was softer than silk. Her infant hands somehow looked like my hands. She is adored with every ounce of my blood. She had a sweet cleft chin, a dominant trait, but she's the only one in my immediate family who had it. She was cremated. I have copies of her footprints, but not her handprints. She died under a waning crescent midway to the new moon. She died of repeated cord compression. I paid a lot of money out of pocket to learn that. She was autopsied, but I was told that there was no cause. I had told our doctor's practice that her movement had slowed and changed 3 weeks and then 2 weeks before she died. Each time they shrugged, they told me that happens when babies prepare for birth. I was too trusting of the medical system to know then what I know now, which is that that's bullshit. Ruthie is my full moon, the brightest light in the darkest hour, but I will never know the color of her eyes. I had to tell my mother that her granddaughter was dead. My mother had to tell my father. I don't blame the individual doctors who saw us during pregnancy. I don't even dislike all of them particularly. I blame the lack of funding, the lack of research. I blame the lack of stopgap measures in the meantime. I blame the broken system that trained these doctors with incorrect information, and I blame the profits-based policies they are taught to follow. I blame the system that rewards doctors for speed and quantity of patients rather than quality of care. Ruthie somersaulted to the end, flipping from breech to birthing position while I was at rest. When she was at term, that should have been a warning. The medical professional told me it was cute. She flipped again between her death and her birth, hence the C-section. I was told that breech dead babies can be beheaded if they're birthed vaginally. The doctor told me she had seen it happen. The C-section never healed correctly because I was already in labor when I got it. 1 year later, I had to have corrective laparoscopic surgery to restore fertility. I'm currently 27 weeks pregnant now with Ruthie's little brother. I'm scared when he's sleeping and not moving, and I'm scared when he moves that he's going to compress his cord. Ruthie rested her head beneath my right ribs when she was alive, and I could feel her sweet skull through my skin. I could cradle my hand around her head, something I never got to do with her outside of my body. Her memory is my greatest blessing, but she deserves to live a long life. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. And thank you for pointing out some of the systemic pieces of this that I think we can highlight, and I think that we also heard. I will turn now to Marnie Smith. Marnie, are you with us today?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can. Please go ahead.
Okay, thanks. Hello, everyone. My name is Marnie Smith, and my son Heath was stillborn in 2019. He would be 3 today. I wanted to talk about the power of the NIH and an amazing success story they have had in saving babies, which Ali Felker alluded to earlier. In the 1990s, the NIH employed Dr. Marion Willinger, and she oversaw the NICHD's research programs on SIDS. In 1994, she launched the Safe to Sleep campaign, which told parents to put babies to sleep on their backs. This campaign reduced the rate of SIDS-related deaths in the US by 50% over 15 years. I just want to repeat that this campaign reduced SIDS deaths by 50%, which is an astounding accomplishment. Basically went from 4,000 to 2,000. I want to directly address the Stillbirth Council and implore you now to turn your attention to another issue threatening the lives of thousands of babies, stillbirth, and demand the research and the resources that will ultimately drive prevention through implementation science. With the Safe to Sleep campaign, the NIH saved thousands of lives and educated a nation. We have seen the power of the NIH and the people you work with. And I want to remind you, the council, of the power you hold. As highly esteemed doctors, you have incredible privilege. Society gives you rights and licenses it gives to no one else in return for the promise to put the interests of those you care for ahead of your own. That promise and that obligation give you voice in public discourse simply because of the oath you have sworn. We are asking you, the people in power, to say to others in power that we cannot allow 23,000 babies to be stillborn every year. We ask you to remember your purpose and your pledge to heal in the face of an epidemic fueled by racism, misogyny, complacency, fatalism, poverty, and injustice. We remind you that your voice is powerful. You can be loud and forceful, and you will be trusted. In honor of my son Heath and all the babies that should be with us, I ask you to use your voice. Thank you.
Thank you, Marnie, and also thank you for the tribute to Dr. Willinger. She was a treasured member of our staff, and we appreciate you highlighting her work. Thank you for your very powerful message.
Thank you.
So I'm going to now turn to Dominique Rice. Dominique, I believe I just saw you. So when
Yes,
you're
I'm
ready,
here.
please. Okay, great. Please go ahead.
Thank you. I am Dominique Rice, mom to TJ. I want to actually invite the council or the members, if they feel so called to actually show your camera or turn your camera off. That would be great. I would love to have the opportunity after such an extensive day, hearing and holding our stories, to actually see your faces and see who is on the receiving end. I am not going to go so in depth in my story because you have spent the entire past hour and a half with us in what I refer to as a sacred space. This is the transfer of energy for us. We live this every single minute of the day. Being part of this group, we recognize that it takes courage. You are on the front line, and we are entrusting our hearts and our children with you as in for the benefit and to create change that must happen in this epidemic that is stillbirth. So I want to pause and recognize that after a good 2 hours, this can be emotional, but I urge you to not look away. Do not look away. My son TJ's death was preventable, just like the handful of birthing partners here on this call today. We are more than just a number. My son TJ is one of 5, and he had a perfect pregnancy until it was not. There is a clear discrepancy of the education of our practitioners, and it is a racist system that has to be addressed. All the work that is done here in this group, front and center, must be equitable. Addressing specifically front and center our Black families, because if we don't find a solution, we are going to continue seeing Black families and their children die. Once we address this epidemic, can we see any change? And with that, I'm here calling to the council, moving forward as you regroup and take a look at your notes and see how many families shared X, Y, and Z, that front and center is solutions for our Black families. With that, it is essential that we look at various factors, not the traditional, I will say traditional factors, which are also rooted in racism, okay? And I think that that's extremely important for everyone here to recognize. I'm gonna call you to please, I'm gonna urge you and list you when you go back in your rooms to debrief, to research what that essentially means. We have to collectively do this together, enlisting the charity partners across the country. And I go back to one of the handful of recommendations as well, really walking hand in hand with our parents that have experienced stillbirth. Just like your working group being some of the brilliance across the country, we birthing parents in this community here are some of the most brilliant individuals. We've had to educate ourselves so that we could save other people because of the systemic issues that we clearly are facing. So I want to bring it back and thank you all for turning on your cameras so I can see your faces and making that commitment and seeing more than just a paper, seeing more than just a number. All these tremendous families here, we hold this every single day. We hold this every single day. It is beyond just one event. We live their we live their death every single day. And with that, just to kind of recap, research, equitable resources that front and center support our Black families and marginalized communities. Okay, it must happen. In addition to that, really taking a partnership with parents, right? No matter what their education, no matter where they come from across the country, we're an asset. We both have a similar goal of, you know, creating or really tackling the stillbirth numbers across the country because it must happen. And so we want to make sure that moving forward, we know that here we are on January 5th. The next opportunity, we want to be at the table and listen to collectively. This is an opportunity for us to really partner and leverage some of our grassroots partnerships that we've had, or grassroots resources that we have from internationally as well as really across the country. So I urge you to please hear what we have to say and thank you for the time. I am complete. And once again, my name is Dominique Rice, mother to TJ. Thank you.
Thank you, Dominique, and thank you for raising your points. We really do hear them. I'm going to turn now to Rosemary Tournier, who is here speaking on behalf of the National Center for Fatality Review and Prevention. Rosemary, are you with us? You are muted, I think, Rosemary, or we're having sound issues. Take a moment.
Can you hear me now?
I can. So
thank you. My headset was a problem, so I apologize, and I thank you, Allison, for this opportunity. My name is Rosemary Fournier, and as Allison said, I am speaking on behalf of the National Center for Fatality Review and Prevention. The National Center is the federally funded data and resource center that supports both child death review and fetal and infant mortality review programs across the country. I do gratefully acknowledge the partnership and funding from the Health Resources and Services Administration, but do need to say that my comments today are solely my responsibility and should not be construed as the official position of the U.S. government. I want to start by first offering heartfelt condolences to all of the speakers who preceded me. I honor their grief, their stories, and their courage in bringing their experiences here to this group today. I am offering my comments to bring to this Stillbirth Working Group of Council a greater awareness of the FEMUR program and the need that it meets. As we have heard in the 3 previous meetings before today, the burden of fetal and infant mortality in this country is huge. Every year, over 21,000 infants born live die before they reach their first birthday, and an equal number of pregnancies in the US end in a stillbirth or a fetal death. Fetal and Infant Mortality Review is a community-based, action-oriented program that is aimed at improving the services and systems and resources for women and infants and families. The FEMUR program brings together multidisciplinary community teams to examine these confidential, de-identified cases of fetal and infant death for the purpose of understanding our families' experiences, including racism, and how those experiences have impacted their pregnancy outcomes. The ultimate goal of FEMUR is to take what we can learn from these case reviews to prevent these tragedies from happening to other families. I want to bring to your attention a couple of the key operating principles of FEMUR. Fetal and infant deaths are sentinel events that illustrate the need for investigation and action. FEMUR always focuses on systems issues and does not place blame or personal responsibility on individuals or behaviors. The parent and family interview that we include with our FEMUR process gives voice to those who have lost an infant and offers information that is not available through routine quantitative methods. I have heard on this call so many speak of the need for data, and I do believe that the FEMUR program meets that need with understanding the voices of the families. FEMUR reviews do lead to identification of the systems factors that contribute to both stillbirth and infant mortality. And lastly, FEMUR focuses on prevention. The findings lead to effective recommendations and is informed by the voices of those who have lost an infant and improve the systems of care, resources, and services for women, infants, and families. Today, there are approximately 152 local FEMUR programs operating in 26 states, the District of Columbia, and 2 additional U.S. territories, but we can do more. FEMUR's reach and impact can certainly be improved by the expansion of this program to any local or state jurisdiction who wishes to improve their surveillance and prevention efforts around stillbirth and infant deaths. I have seen firsthand the positive impact that FEMUR can have on communities. I am a registered nurse who has served for over 30 years in local, state, and now national efforts to eliminate fetal and infant deaths through the FEMUR process. FEMUR findings have spurred communities to enhance their bereavement support and services for families. FEMURs have brought about the adoption of evidence-based prevention efforts in many communities, such as Count the Kicks, which you have heard about from several previous speakers. With its in-depth exploration of the contributors to fetal and infant mortality and the systems issues that impact deaths, FEMURs have helped communities have a clearer understanding of the underlying risk factors and inequities that they may not otherwise identify. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak to the Council.
Thank you so much, Rosemary, and thank you for your work in this area and supporting the communities in this country with the data that they need. We very much appreciate your comments. I'm looking at our list and looking to see if Fernanda Sheridan has joined us today. Fernanda, are you with us?
Fernanda unfortunately had to drop off because she had a child care issue.
I'm sorry, I was trying to keep us on schedule as much as possible. So I would send our apologies to Fernanda and I will reach out. Thank you for letting me know. Then let me turn to Amanda Feltman. Amanda, are you still available?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, Amanda, please go ahead.
Hi there, I'm Amanda. I'm the mom of 3 beautiful girls, and I'm here in anger today of my daughter Juniper's preventable death. There's my beautiful girl. A unique part of my story and our experience is that I was involved in stillbirth prevention prior to the death of my own daughter. I'm local to Star Legacy Foundation, and before I was even pregnant with our first daughter, I went through the training to be a volunteer photographer for families in loss situations. Then I got pregnant with Juniper. I was not made aware of the importance of monitoring fetal movement. At my 20-week ultrasound, they identified that she was measuring small, IUGR. So then I was sent to be under the care of MFM. Even with being under the high level of MFM care, I was not made aware to monitor her fetal movements. In fact, I almost felt the opposite, that I didn't need to monitor her fetal movements because I was having weekly and then twice a week NSTs and BPPs. I was being seen by so many doctors, I didn't feel like I could question the care that I was given. When she died and then was born, 2 things that shouldn't happen in that order. Because of my training with Star Legacy, I knew kind of what to do in the hospital, which not many people know what to do in that situation. But then I didn't know what came next. I knew that, or I thought after being under such close care that the doctors would be asking questions or that I could ask questions, but it felt like I had to push for more appointments and to ask those questions. And then getting pregnant again was terrifying. And I remember
my OB asking me, what more can we do? And after being under such close care, that felt like an insane request. And then I learned about EPV and measuring the placenta during pregnancy, because that is something that was on our radar when Junie was measuring small. And I learned about that when I was pregnant with my second daughter, who is thankfully wonderfully here alive. And then I learned that doctors did not want to do anything more, even though I was asked, what more can we do in my care? I received pushback from my MFM that it was unnecessary, that they didn't know how to do it. They didn't know what to do with that info. And I just basically learned that they didn't want to prevent stillbirth is how it feels anyways. So because of that, I have become an advocate on Instagram. I have a whole community of moms, dead baby moms, if you will. I share a lot about the grief experience there. I share a lot about the importance of monitoring fetal movements, about the importance of measuring the placenta. I've written letters to ACOG. I don't even know how many letters I've sent to ACOG, hoping that they will start paying attention to this important stillbirth prevention method. I've also participated in meetings like this. And going back to how I started my intro, I go and I photograph families whose babies have died in the hospital. And while I've been on this call today, I have been editing photos of a baby boy that died and was born just before Christmas. His mom complained to her doctor of reduced fetal movements for 2 weeks and nothing was done. And then he died. All that being said, all of the advocacy that is happening, all of the prevention, the system that we are working with is not doing enough to save babies' lives. So we need to see improvements. We need to see standards of care improve. And I need to stop getting calls to photograph babies that have died. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Amanda. I will say that what you do is so important, I know, to your family, but also to those other families. And I know personally that it has made a difference for friends of mine. So thank you for providing that service to others. And thank you for sharing your story. If I can, if Kelly Friedrich is on.
Yeah, hi, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Great, go ahead.
I wish that I didn't know that the Dead Baby Mama Club existed. I wish I wasn't a part of it. I found Amanda actually on Instagram and to find that community. Again, you wish you didn't have to be a part of that club, but we're some of the strongest moms I think I've ever met. On April 28th, 2021, I gave birth to my first son, William James. He weighed 6 pounds, 2 ounces, and he was 20 inches long. I never got to see his eyes, and I never got to hear him cry. He was born still at 36 weeks. My pregnancy was totally normal. He was a perfectly healthy little boy. I had a growth ultrasound on a Thursday at 35 and 2, and he looked great. He was so wiggly that we couldn't even get a picture of his face. On Saturday and Sunday, I had 2 virtual baby showers. I asked my family and friends to send their favorite children's books with a letter written to Will instead of sending gifts. While on Zoom in his nursery, my loved ones told me why the books were their favorite. And I told everyone how excited I was that I was going to be meeting him in just a few weeks. On Monday morning, I woke up early and I couldn't go back to sleep. I just decided to get up and start my day. While I was making breakfast, I had this jolt of, oh my gosh, I don't remember the last time I felt Will move. I woke up my husband and I told him we needed to go to the doctor. At my OB's office, they tried to do a non-stress test. They couldn't find a heartbeat. A nurse practitioner came in with a Doppler. She couldn't find a heartbeat. I'm a nurse. I know he was gone. I had to wait for an ultrasound room to open up. And when I saw Will, I knew immediately he was gone. My first baby died. We went home and we waited for my doctor to call us to try to make a plan. I, sobbed asking the physician who was there with us, "You mean I have to give birth to a dead baby?" And she said, yes. I had to call my family, call our friends, call my boss and tell them that we're not going to be bringing a baby home. I had to give birth to a baby that had died. Tuesday morning, we drove to the hospital and started the induction process. 28 hours later, at 12:45 p.m. on Wednesday, April 28th, Will was born. He was placed on my chest and I got to hold my first son. He never got to cry. He was perfect. He looked exactly like my husband. We spent some time with Will. We got to take some pictures. And I was discharged without our baby 6 hours after giving birth. We left the hospital not knowing why our son died, unsure if we would ever have an answer. From pretty much the first hour we found out about Will dying, people told us, we're probably not going to get an answer. You're probably not going to find out. These things just happen sometimes. We did have an autopsy done. I wish I didn't know how much it costs to have an autopsy on my child. His cause of death is listed as unknown, but it was noted that his placenta was really small. I wasn't satisfied with this answer. How can a baby die and not know the cause? We've sought out Dr. Kleinman at Yale, and he looked at Will's placenta, and it was in the 0.3 percentile for his body weight. Again, at 36 weeks, he was 6 pounds and 2 ounces. Will's death was preventable. Had his placenta been measured throughout my pregnancy, he would be here. Had I been educated on the importance of kit counts and knowing Will's normal movement pattern, he would be here, and we wouldn't have had to leave the hospital with a box instead of a baby. No family should have to endure the lifelong devastation and heartbreak of losing a child. I'm never going to stop demanding change. I appreciate you listening to our stories, and I really hope we can make a difference in changing the outcome and changing the trajectory of stillbirth in this country. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you so much. So I'm going to now turn to Deb Haney, and I'm going to try this, Deb. VJ Vergia. My hope is I got close.
That was good. No, you actually got the harder one correct, and the simpler one was a little bit off. It's Hain VJ Vergia, but still very impressive. Thank you. That always catches everyone up. Thank you very much for having us, and for everyone still being here. It's been a long day. So thank you for the opportunity to speak here today, and to the Stillbirth Working Group for helping us to shine a light on the stillbirth crisis in the U.S. And I'm just so sorry that we even need to be here having this conversation. But again, my name is Deb Hain VJ Vergia, and I am Autumn Joy's mom. Stillbirth advocacy is not what I imagined that I would be doing with my life, but on July 8th, 2011, my life irrevocably changed the moment that I brought my lifeless baby girl into this world. The experience fundamentally changed me in ways that I can never begin to explain, and my life has never been the same since. Spent the past 11 plus years working to ensure that other families never need to know the devastating horrors of bringing a stillborn baby into this world, which is why I'm here today. My doctors led me to believe that losing her was as rare as being struck by lightning. And I believed them because I had never known what a stillbirth was, or that something like this could happen to me. But I soon learned that that wasn't the case, and that stillbirths are one of the most common adverse pregnancy outcomes. In the US, women are led to believe that a normal pregnancy will inevitably result in a healthy baby. And the reality is that's not true. Since Autumn died, over 260,000 babies have been stillborn in this country. God, the number got to me. In spite of these numbers, stillbirth has remained one of the most underfunded and understudied public health issues today. Pregnancy and positive birth outcomes are something we take for granted. What often goes unnoticed after stillbirth is that marriages fail, families fall apart, friendships dissolve, and careers are lost. People don't consider the negative impact that stillbirth has on our society, or the stigma associated with stillbirth that forces families to suffer in silence. That said, stillbirth is an issue that we cannot solve without accurate and timely data. The truth is that stillbirth data is not prioritized for timely release, and once available, there are concerns about the quality. As an example, initial data from 2020 live births became available in May 2021, and yet it didn't become available for stillbirth until August 2022. This makes our ability to make data-driven decisions for prevention virtually impossible. But all is not lost. We've made efforts to improve live birth data, and we can do it for stillbirth, because with better data, we can have better outcomes. Research on stillbirth has not been afforded the same attention as other areas of medical research. And while some studies have identified many factors that may cause stillbirths, we still do not know the causes of majority of them, in part due to low autopsy rates and a lack of uniform protocols for evaluating and classifying stillbirths. This leads to workforce concerns related to the shortage of trained perinatal pathologists in the U.S. With too few trained pathologists, a stillbirth is either not evaluated by autopsy, or if it is, the autopsy often yields inaccurate findings. And without thorough perinatal autopsies and placental examinations, we are limited in our understanding of why so many healthy pregnancies result in stillbirth. The above issues are what led to the creation of the bipartisan Stillbirth Health Improvement and Education for Autumn Act, which would focus on improving data collection, education, awareness, reporting, and research. And I remain hopeful and optimistic that we can move the Shine for Autumn Act through the 118th Congress this year. And I am proud to say that it was Shine's House sponsors, former Congresswomen Herrera Butler and Roybal Allard, that worked tirelessly to guarantee that the Stillbirth Task Force program was funded so that we can begin to address the stillbirth crisis in the U.S. sooner rather than later. You know, all I can say is thank you again for this opportunity and for joining us to ensure that this issue is no longer neglected or forgotten. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deb. And I know that the representatives, Roybal Allard and Herrera Butler, were such champions. We will miss them greatly in this next Congress. And our hope is that there will be new champions that will work with us to advance this issue. So thank you for raising that. May I see if Megan Oak, I'm going to try this one, Okut, I'm hoping that is correct. And Megan, please correct me.
You got
Please,
it.
Megan.
Turn it. Yep.
Okay.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Let me just pull up my notes here. All right. Thank you so much. My name is Megan Ockett. I'm the program director with Healthy Birthday, Inc., the nonprofit that created the evidence-based stillbirth prevention program, Count the Kicks, which you've heard about quite a bit today. So thank you. Thank you to all the advocates and talking on here today. Thank you for all being part of this critical conversation and allowing our voices to be heard, and hopefully take what you hear and learn today and turn it into action. So earlier today, you heard Jasmine and a couple other of our advocates and ambassadors talk about Count the Kicks and how we have successfully worked to decrease the stillbirth rate in Iowa by 32% and 39% among African-American women here in Iowa. You learned about how we work to bring our evidence-based program to all 50 states in hopes of replicating our success in Iowa and other states across the nation. If every state replicated Count the Kicks like we've done in Iowa, we have the potential to save 7,500 babies from preventable stillbirth. But what you won't hear about today are the stories, the over 100 plus stories that we have on our website of all the babies that have been saved that we know about, and we know that there are more out there with this Count the Kicks information. You won't hear about how Iowa has not had an increase in the C-section rates with the creation and implementation of Count the Kicks. And you won't hear about every single stillbirth that has happened, all 22,000 plus stillbirth stories that tragically happen every year. You won't hear about all the moms that die after suffering a stillbirth. And as you know, or maybe you didn't know, you are 4 times more likely to die after suffering a stillbirth. No, you won't hear all those stories today. But what I hope you do hear is that there is enough evidence and support to push for more funding and support from your colleagues from the federal government. You will hear and walk away knowing that there are people and organizations here that want to fix the system. Femurs all across the United States contact us all the time with stories of loss, asking, how do we get providers to listen? Organizations like AWON who are working with us hand in hand to get a standard of care model created for those coming into OB departments with a change in fetal movement and what to do. We are here, but we cannot do this alone, and we cannot do this in silos. We need you and you need us. Thank you.
Megan, thank you so much, and appreciate your comments. So I think Emily Price is next on our speaker list, and I want to thank all of you for continuing to hold in this space with us and listen to these stories We really do very much appreciate them. Emily, are you with us?
I am. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you for allowing us to speak and be here today. I'm the CEO of Healthy Birthday Inc. I work alongside Megan and Jasmine and Sean and Angelica and many others that are on here today. As the CEO of Healthy Birthday Inc., it's a nonprofit based in Iowa that started the Count the Kicks Stillbirth Prevention Program. Nothing I say right now is going to be as important as the stories that you have heard from families who have endured the tragedy of stillbirth on this call. As someone who works in stillbirth prevention, I've encountered ignorance at some of the highest levels in this country. In one conversation with the head of maternal child health within a state health department here in the US, she asked me the difference between stillbirth and miscarriage. The head of maternal child health in that state health department did not know the difference between stillbirth and miscarriage. Last month, when speaking with congressional staffers in the final days of the 117th Congress to check on the status of the Maternal and Child Health Stillbirth Prevention Act, one of the staffers bluntly told me, quote, "Stillbirth just isn't a priority right now." She's right, it's not. But you have the power to change that. And we're so grateful for this opportunity you have provided here to share our stories and the impact of the stillbirth in the US. We deeply appreciate your time and your listening to us. You have the power to get thousands more babies here safely and improve outcomes for moms. Stillbirth and maternal mortality and morbidity are two sides of the same coin. Many of the women on this call not only endured the tragedy of losing their baby to stillbirth, they were very close to losing their own lives. And as Megan mentioned, research shows that when someone gives birth to a stillborn baby, they are now 4 to 5 times more likely to lose their own life. When stillbirth prevention efforts exist, we have the opportunity to save moms too. Our organization published a white paper earlier this year that shows how Count the Kicks not only alerts moms to early red flags with their baby in the 3rd trimester, it alerted them to their own health issues that were developing, things like a maternal fetal hemorrhage and placental abruption, things that turn deadly very quickly for moms in the US. You heard my friend Sean, Count the Kicks Arizona ambassador, talk about how she nearly died after delivering her son, Zach. What she did not tell you is that our sons were born exactly 3 weeks apart to the day in July of 2010. The only difference was that I knew about Count the Kicks because I live in a state where Count the Kicks was created. I spoke up when I noticed a change in my son's movements at 30 weeks, and my doctor took me very seriously. She knew everything to do to keep my son safe and inside me, and he was delivered extremely healthy on the first day of my 40th week, not a minute in the NICU. The only difference between Sean's story and mine is that one of us lived in a Count the Kicks state and one of us did not. Why does America roll the dice on who has important stillbirth prevention information and who does not? You have the power to change this, just like you did with the Safe Sleep campaign, which is to be applauded and celebrated. Let's stop leaving babies' lives up to chance and raise awareness about proven prevention efforts together. We don't care who takes credit. We can save lives right now. My son and thousands of others are living proof. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you so much. So I will close and ask Tamara Naverstek, are you with us today? Tamara, are you with us, Mahag? Here. Yeah, it's possible because we are running behind, and I do apologize.
No, I don't think so. I think she may have dropped off by now. I don't see her name anymore.
I will reach out to her. So first, I want to recognize and acknowledge the fact that many of you have been with us this whole time. I want to thank you sincerely. The pain and the grief are still very real, and I, as a mom, as a friend to individuals who have delivered stillborn babies, I just want to honor the power and the pain that you have shared. It's an incredibly difficult thing to relive trauma, It is an incredibly difficult thing to share it publicly, and it is an incredibly difficult thing to bring something that has caused such pain to yourselves and to your families to the public and use it in such a pro-social and fascinatingly amazing way. We've heard you today. We've heard the need to pay attention to equity, to pay attention to the mental health of the moms and families who experience stillbirth, pay attention to the needs for autopsy, for fetal autopsy, for paying attention to fetal movement, for looking at the needs for imaging, for measurement of the placenta, for really trying to determine how we can prevent stillbirth for other families, and that we need more data for research. And I want to thank you for not only sharing your stories, but sharing your knowledge. We hope that at least we can begin to honor your family's voices and your family's losses, and acknowledge the power you have as a community. We are incredibly grateful for everything that you've shared with us today. So with that, I just also want to say my sincere condolences for all your losses. I cannot imagine the pain that has caused, and I truly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. With that, I will say that we're going to continue to listen. We do also still have the opportunity for some of you, you've mentioned that we have a request for information out that's more of an official channel, and that is due tomorrow. So if you haven't shared through that, we really would appreciate. We've also shared for those of you registered, if you can't meet that deadline, that you can reach out to Ms. Natasha Williams from our Legislation and Public Policy Office. We will also be sharing preliminary report and recommendations at our January 24th, 2023 Advisory Council meeting, and you can go to our website for more details on that. So I just want to hold your stories with me today, and we will continue to hold them in this working group. And thank you so much, all of you, for joining us. And with that, I think we will close.